Good evening. I will now call the August 6th, 2026 meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission to order. Commissioner Brodsky, may we please have a roll call?
We may. Commissioner Goway-Jones.
Here.
Commissioner Graybaugh.
Here.
Commissioner Gray.
Here.
Commissioner Lowe.
Here.
Commissioner Stanton.
Present.
Commissioner Stockton.
Here.
Commissioner Walters.
Here.
I am here. And Commissioner Dar.
Here.
We have a full house, quorum of 9.
Thank you. We all are, sorry, Rusty, I was going to say Mr. Zinner, but you're not Mr. Zinner. Are there any changes to our agenda this evening?
Nope, there are not.
Thank you, Mr. Palmer. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Move to approve the agenda?
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Gray, seconded by Commissioner Stanton. A thumbs up approval on the agenda. Unanimous. Thank you. We all received a copy of the July 23rd, 2026 regular meeting minutes. Are there any changes or adjustments to the minutes? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve the minutes?
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Gray and seconded by Commissioner Dar? Commissioner Dar. Is there a thumbs up approval of the minutes? Unanimous with Commissioner Brodsky abstaining. Our first case for the evening, case number 186-2026, a request by Crockett Engineering on behalf of RAA Holdings LLC owner for approval of a 3-lot preliminary plat of R2 two-family dwelling zoned property to be known as the Jefferson Cottages. The .33 acre subject site is located at 307 Sexton Road. May we please have a staff report?
Yes, you may. Thank you, Madam Chair. Real quick on the public notice front here, there were 44 postcards mailed on the 27th of June to the neighboring property owners for this. Jump into our aerial perspective here. You see this site is located at the northeast corner of Sexton and Jefferson, which is right there at the kind of crook in Sexton Road. Of note, you've got the Business Loop I-70 on the upper right-hand corner there. So this is essentially directly south of like the Parkade Shopping Center. So, and then another point of reference would be Hickman High School, just kind of halfway on and off the page on the top right. So, it's, sorry, I got multiple mice here to deal with, so not used to that. So as you said, or as I said, the subject site's the northeast corner of Sexton and Jefferson. It's currently zoned R2, and it is currently vacant. The BOA approved optional cottage development standards on July 14th. So as we all know, the cottage standards reduce the R2 dimensional standards, and the purpose would be to allow general density and infill development scenarios. It would allow a minimum lot size, or maximum, let me back up, minimum lot size, sorry, of 3,000 square feet and a minimum lot width of 30 feet. We do often find that those are not where those lots are coming in. They typically are somewhere around the 40-foot mark, and you see that echoed here in a minute. The front and rear setbacks, minimums are then reduced to 10 feet, and again, most of our cottage development is not coming in at the minimum, and we'll see that again here too. So first point there I've already made, proposed lots on this preliminary plat are between 55 and 70 feet wide. The 70-foot wide lot being the south lot, and a lot of that's taken up in corner truncation, so that full frontage is not usable for driveway access, so that's the reason for the extra width on that one. They are also somewhere between 65 and 68 feet deep. It kind of ranges from narrower on the south end and wider on the top end. The two lot lines, the front and rear lot lines, are not exactly parallel to one another, so that's the reason for that. And because of the varied lot dimensions, you have lots here between 3,500 and 4,500 square feet, so well above the 3,000 square foot minimum again. These, on the preliminary plat, are shown to have a 20-foot building line along both street frontages. And again, that's in excess of what is required in the cottage standards, and that's basically a developer-imposed restriction on the plat, just so that the houses that would be built on these lots begin to mimic the setbacks that already exist on both of those frontages, the existing homes to the north and to the east. There's a 10-foot of additional right-of-way dedicated, along with a corner truncation there for Jefferson Street. You can see that mostly from where the sidewalk is located, and that is a 5-foot sidewalk, which ties into the existing sidewalk on Sexton. Standard 10-foot utility easements are dedicated within that front yard on both of those frontages as well as required by the code. So with that, the cottage standards being approved, the proposal is supported by the comp plan and the housing study, which prioritize infill and integration of diverse housing, general density, all of those things into existing neighborhoods. And our recommendation would be to approve the Jefferson Cottage preliminary plat pursuant to minor technical corrections. And I'd be happy to answer any questions you have.
Thank you. Before we go to questions for staff, if any of my fellow commissioners have had contact with parties to this case outside of a public hearing, please disclose so now. Seeing none, are there any questions for staff? Seeing none, we will go to public comment. If any members of the public are here to speak on this case, please come forward, state your name and address for the record. We allow 3 minutes for individuals and 6 minutes for groups and the applicant.
Madam Chair, members of the commission, Tim Crockett, Crockett Engineering, 1000 West Nifong. I think Mr. Palmer summed up the summary of this proposal pretty well. Again, we are looking for a 3-lot preliminary plat with cottage standards that have been approved by the Board of Adjustment. Of course, you certainly know what cottage standards are and what the cottages are. Again, the location here, I'm going to zoom out just a little bit and kind of show you it's in a highly developed area in the city of Columbia. With a lot of varying sizes of lots throughout that entire area, this being one of the larger lots out there. Again, just a schematic of the preliminary plat that breaks it into 3 lots that would front onto Jefferson Street. And the purpose is to provide, a small pocket of cottage-style homes in an infill-type development. You've kind of seen what we're looking for. We've done this before in the cottage-style homes that we're proposing. This is just a picture going along Jefferson Street, so you can kind of see what we're looking at. We're going to be fitting in with other residences. These are just right up the street. Our project is at the very far end of the street there. So these are just right up the street from us. These homes were built back in the 40s, and you can see they don't have any garages, but they're smaller homes. This is across the street from us, a little bit larger homes. They have single-car garages, similar to what we will have, and these homes were built back in about the 60s. Again, similar developments. We've done cottage developments before. This commission is accustomed to those and have seen many of those before. And so with that, comes to you with support from staff and supported by Columbia Imagined, as well as the Board of Adjustment. So happy to answer any questions that the commission may have.
Are there any questions for the speaker? Commissioner Gray?
Thank you. Do you know approximately how long this area has been vacant?
No, ma'am, I do not. I'm not sure how long the site has been vacant.
And I think for me, this is one of the first times I'm seeing cottage in an infill scenario. Can you tell me a little bit about what the potential impact is to the neighborhood?
Well, there were some initial comments talking about, it's already switched over. With regards to traffic on the streets. And so when we look at the traffic, you can see it's an improved street. We're adding 3 units to it. It's already zoned R2, so technically we could add duplexes. We don't believe that duplexes really fit in with the neighborhood. We could, potentially put more units, more beds on the piece of property, but that's not what we feel, my client feels is what's needed in the area. It doesn't feel that that's what the area already kind of shows. We have smaller single-family homes. That's owner-occupied. That's what his desire is to build and sell, not build and hold. And so the impacts, I think, are far less with 3 single-family homes than with potential duplexes.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions for the speaker? Seeing none, Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.
Are there any other members of the public that are here to speak on this case tonight? If so, please come forward. Seeing none, we will close public comment and go to commissioner comment. Are there any commissioner comments on this case? Commissioner Stanton?
I love when the developing community tests the waters and tries out new things. Cottage style is where to go, especially in this area. I hope they're aesthetically pleasing and not cheap looking. I'm praying. But love it and I plan to support it.
Any other commissioner comment? Would anyone like to make a motion? Commissioner Stanton?
Madam Chair, I'd like to entertain a motion.
Please do.
Mr. Palmer, can you help me out here?
You got the slide in front of you there?
No.
No.
Oh,
We have Tim's presentation.
There,
There you
Oh,
it was so close.
so close.
There we go.
As it relates to case 186-2026, Jefferson Cottages preliminary plat, I move to approve the Jefferson Cottages preliminary plat pursuant of minor technical corrections.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Stanton and seconded by Commissioner Gray. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, Commissioner Brodsky, may we have a roll call?
Commissioner Galway-Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Gray,
Yes.
sorry. Commissioner Grayball.
yes.
Sorry, we have a new attendance sheet, but we have our old sheet on the back here. Commissioner Lowe,
Yes.
Commissioner Stanton,
Yes.
Commissioner Stockton,
Yes.
Commissioner Walters.
Yes.
My vote is yes. And Commissioner Dar.
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you. That recommendation will be sent to City Council. Next case, that was unanimous, correct, Commissioner Grants?
Yes.
Brodsky?
Yes.
Can't write and talk. All right. For our next case for the evening, case number 160-2026, a request by Allstate Consultants Agent on behalf of Bluegill Land and Cattle LLC owner for approval of a 147-lot preliminary plat and design adjustments from Section 29-5.1 C3I and II of the UDC with regards to maximum block length and accessing more than 30 lots from a single street segment. The property is also the subject of permanent zoning annexation request seeking R1 one-family dwelling zoning upon annexation into the city limits. The 75.51 acre subject site is located at the southeast corner of Creasy Springs and Brown School Roads. May we please have a staff report?
Yes, you may. Thank you. So on the public notice for this case, the letters and ads were sent to, the letters were sent to 45 property owners and residents in the area on the 22nd of July, which was also the date of the Tribune ad. And this case was actually tabled for a bit. The zoning and annexation, the permanent zoning request was seen at the last meeting. And then this was held back because we had to advertise the design adjustments. So that is the reason for the delay. So here's our aerial. Again, it's the southeast corner of Creasy Springs and Brown School Road. Of course, that's 763 or range line in the yellow to the east. And Blue Ridge is across the south end or the lower end of the screen there. As you can see, we're on the kind of northeast or west reaches of town, but we are adjacent to the city limits. So the site is currently zoned RS. It's improved with 3 kind of estate lot or farm lot type houses with their accessory buildings. They, of course, are still seeking annexation, R1 permanent zoning on the subject property. The annexation public hearing happened Monday night, I believe, and then everything has been tabled until the preliminary plat can catch up to it at council. So that's what we're doing tonight, and hopefully accommodating that. Let's see. Proposed plat street layout does require design adjustments from section 29.5.1C, and it's items I and II under subsection 1. Again, you stated that previously, but it is, there's one street segment that has more than 30 lots. And then also there are 4 different segments of the street network that are over 600 feet long. I think I hit it twice and it went once, so we'll make sure we don't jump ahead here. So plat includes 147 lots, 142 of those would be single-family development lots, and 5 common lots. The common lots generally are for stormwater purposes. A large common lot at the southeast corner of the site includes stream buffer and steep slopes. Lots C3 and C4 are intended for pedestrian trail connectivity, which is offered as an alternative for additional street connectivity, which we've done in some recent cases where we had similar topographical concerns primarily. So Lot C5 is located at the northwest corner, and I'm listing these, but you'll see them on the next slide, so bear with me. But Lot C5 at the northwest corner is actually mostly encumbered by an electric transmission line, and so that's somewhat cut off from the rest of the development here, so it's been placed in a common lot for preservation of green space, basically. A traffic impact analysis was prepared and submitted with the preliminary plat request to address anticipated traffic that's created by the development. And it also took into account site distances on both Brown School and Creasy Springs, and the intersection separation requirements of the code. So it did note that volumes remain below design volume for the road after development, and so there were no additional improvements recommended by the study. We'll jump here. So here is our site plan. This actually doesn't include a small piece to the north. I think I actually forgot to put one in here with it, but this is where the bulk of, well, all of the design adjustments apply to these streets, so that's the important part here. But so it does have limited options for connectivity, mainly due to poor site distances on the existing road network. As you can see from the topography on this map, both Brown School and Creasy have some very steep slopes, and Brown School has kind of some ups and downs as you go from east to west across there. So it does kind of limit your availability for location and access points. Beyond that, the internal street network includes 3 loop streets and 1 elongated stub down to the south end that would be for future connectivity to the parcel to the south. And then, of course, there's Stone Creek Drive that actually cuts across the site, providing the 2 points of access. So the north and west access points on Stone Creek Drive, those were located based on the findings of the traffic impact analysis. And essentially any other locations are basically in unsafe locations based on site distance. So that's why we're limited here. The 4 street segments I mentioned are over 600-foot max block length. We'll show on the next one, on the next slide. And then Stonewater Circle on the northeast side of that, over here towards the lake, is the loop that serves, I believe, 36 lots. And again, that section, and this is one of our design adjustment requests, is from 29.5.1C3IE. States that individual residential street segments should serve no more than 30 dwelling units without additional connections. Ideally, the connection really would probably be out to Brown School Road, and I think I've shown that on the next one. I think I kind of jumped back and forth here, so let me just jump to this next one here. The second design adjustment is for section 29.5.1C3II that states that streets shall intersect at intervals not exceeding 600 feet or less than 250 feet. So this color-coded map now shows each segment of street, and the color-coded, the red, blue, orange, and green are the different segments that are over 600 feet with their corresponding links there. The yellow is the two common lots that are intended to provide those pedestrian trail connections. And as I stated in the opening statement, that we've used those in some other similar scenarios, specifically from my recollection is Bennett Ridge and Foxlair out off of Ballinger. And then both of those cases were somewhat similar in that they had these cross slopes that made streets either too steep or they just had general other connectivity issues, kind of like here with the site distances and other limitations, so. So on this slide, I just added some of those locations with the red arrows that shows where kind of ideally we would want to have those additional connection points. Stonewater Circle, again, is actually this entire loop is called Stonewater, the orange and the red, but the northeast part, the red part, and the orange part, and then Bellstone Drive also all have the opportunity, at least, for connections to Brown School or Creasy's, but again, they're limited by, up here mainly by intersection spacing. And then when you have these other intersections, that becomes an issue as well with spacing. But particularly with this option, it would be too much of a cross slope. You'd be right in the middle of a hill, and that limits your sight distance. Stonebridge Court being the southern leg here, also it follows a ridge, and so therefore you can't really do much east or west of that. And it does satisfy the connection and the connectivity for future development to the south. And then there's also kind of a somewhat conflicting component in the code that says terminal streets can be up to 750 feet long, and that's meant for permanent terminal streets, so not really applicable here, but given the fact that we don't know when that southern lot may ever develop, this will be essentially a terminal street until that happens, but it's hard to say when that would be. So the design adjustment evaluation criteria are found in section 29.5.2B9, and there's 5 of those. First is that it's consistent with the comp plan and any policy guidance that we've been given. 2 is that there's no adverse impacts on adjacent properties or property owners. 3 is that it does not make circulation within the site more dangerous or difficult for automobiles or pedestrians. 4 is that it addresses a unique factor of the site or achieves a unique character meant by the design of the site and doesn't decrease installation of standard required improvements. And number 5 is that there's no adverse impacts on public health and safety. So each one of these following slides will be staff's evaluation of each of those criteria. So this is criteria 1. So the design adjustments, and I'm kind of lumping them together, they are from the same section 29.5.1C, but they are separate components within that. So lumping them together is appropriate. We can discuss them separately if you'd like also. But so in terms of comp plan and policy guidance consistency, they are seeking these design adjustments to help limit additional roadway improvements that have actually a negative impact on safety in a lot of instances. They'll also impact home values, and they'll have other environmental considerations due to increased runoff from impervious area. The site is appropriate for the development given it's compact with the city boundary and infrastructure is readily available. They will be served by a sewer pump station, which is actually visible here just to the southeast of the site. The comp plan and housing study both also support removal of barriers to home ownership, especially for diverse attainable housing stock. And then this would add 142 units to the city's housing stock, which would have a noticeable effect on the housing market and have availability of housing. Item number 2 being no adverse impacts. The impacts actually would be reduced by approval of the design adjustments compared to a compliant roadway network design. Again, there's stormwater implications, and the Cow Branch actually crosses the site, and the site generally slopes to the south, to the Cow Branch as well. So any development on this property will have an indirect impact on the Cow Branch, if not a direct impact. Again, on safety concerns, they were carefully considered by the design team on this project, and the proposed design actually limits potential conflicts with mainly site distances on those outer roadways. The roadways, according to the traffic study, which was reviewed and approved by our traffic engineer, are below the design capacity for the road, and they would be anticipated to remain under the design capacity after development. And so they don't trigger any need for additional improvements on the road, such as turn lanes. So that's another consideration there. In terms of making circulation more dangerous or difficult, the existing roadway network and topography are really what's dictating the proposed design. The additional connections, both internally and externally, cannot be achieved without compromising safety somewhat. And then again, as stated earlier, the extra roadway construction costs will be passed on to home buyers, and so the increase in home price will be an indirect result of that. So the pedestrian trail connections that are proposed as an alternative, they do shorten travel distance. They also separate pedestrian travel in that area from automobile travel, which is considered a safer alternative to just standard sidewalk locations. Item number 4, the addressing a unique factor. Again, we're really dealing with the topography here, and then also the roadway safety issues. As you can kind of see from this site, the lake really kind of cuts the site and limits the access back and forth east to west, and so the development is kind of secluded to the northwest portion of the site, really that half of the site, and can't really do much to go east, which would have been another alternative for additional connections. So let's see, we've touched on all of those. And finally, the no adverse impacts on public health and safety. I think the approval of the design adjustments would serve to reduce some of those potential negative safety issues that I've talked about. The fire department staff reviewed the plat and the design adjustment request and did not note any concerns. They did note that in terms of serving multiple, more than 30 lots in particular, many of those homes back up on Brown School Road. So if for any reason the internal loop were blocked, they would be accessible for fire purposes from Creasy Springs or from Brown School. I think I just mentioned Brown School the first time, but so a lot of those lots would be able to be served even if the roadway were blocked for some reason, which is another part of their consideration and review. And again, on the alternative pedestrian trail connections, they provide the internal connectivity for foot traffic that would otherwise have to traverse the full length of each street to navigate through the development. And I think in our previous cases, that was the primary rationale behind those pedestrian connections was that we wanted to focus whatever connectivity we could get, we wanted to at least focus on the pedestrian traffic and not so much on the vehicular traffic. But so overall, the proposed prelim plat is consistent with the UDC, supported by the comp plan, with the exception of the 2 design adjustments, which are supported by staff as outlined in the presentation. With that, our recommendation, and this will require 2 motions, is to approve the requested design adjustments from section 29.5.1C and also to approve the proposed prelim plat pursuant to minor technical corrections. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Before we go to questions for staff, if any of my fellow commissioners have had contact with parties to this case outside of a public hearing, please disclose so now. Seeing none, we will open the floor to public comment. If any members of the public are here to speak on this case, please come forward. We'll take turns. I've got 3 people standing. Please state your name and address for the record. We allow 3 minutes for an individual, 6 minutes for a group. And make sure you get that microphone up close to your mouth.
Let's see, there it comes. Good evening, I'm Brian Harrington with Allstate Consultants at 3312 Lamone Industrial Boulevard. I'm here on behalf of the owner. Mr. Palmer did a great job with his staff report, and I appreciate the comprehensive nature of the descriptions on the design adjustments. It was, so I'll be able to fly through some of these things. As he described the tract, you know, the lake is a very important part of this tract that we wanted to preserve as we were looking at it. Our understanding is this has historically been used for a little bit of public swimming in the past. It hasn't for some time now, but I think it's a meaningful lake to the community as well. Another picture of that. I'm going to fly through some of these since they've already been covered by the staff report. The green arrow is pointing to where the lift station is. I did want to point out that by connecting the city sewer with this development, it will eliminate 3 private lagoons on the tract that are existing now. And then that's the approximate location of the future Cow Branch Trail connection. We have common area lots that will allow us to connect into that trail in the future when it makes it up there. Again, another picture of the lake. On the left side of that is where the Cow Branch Trail will be. Design adjustments, when we did the layout for this tract, the lake weighed into that significantly, and then the locations of where we could tie into the street were just critical. We spent a lot of time analyzing the site distance, and really we found the 3 spots where it made the most sense to connect in. And so that limited our options as to where we could shorten some of these block lengths. And then also we were trying to minimize some of the mass grading and rock excavation and impervious area, and try to support the topography as it is as best as possible. We talked about, Mr. Palmer talked about the lengths of these, and then that's the locations as well. And then the green is, again, the connection, the 2 connections to the loop streets for pedestrian, but then I also showed the future connections down to the Cow Branch Trail, which also supports that, shortening that Stone Crest Circle court length. Then the other one is the 36 lot design adjustment, and that's the area. I was going to make the point about Brown School Road as well. 2 of those lots are also corner lots that are affected by the adjacent roadway. So we're just barely over the 30 limit on that, and we have 2 accesses that both accesses have a 4-way intersection. So I think it satisfies any access concerns there. This is just reiterating these points. We made the decisions we did on the lengths of this block lengths based on the topography and based on the available connections to the existing roadway, and the limitations of going to the east because of the lake. Touching briefly on the traffic study, our Allstate team that does traffic studies consists of 3 engineers, professional engineers. I'm a professional traffic operations engineer. Our team also has a crash reconstructionist and a roadway safety professional. 2 of us have master's degrees in transportation engineering. We did a thorough look at this traffic study. We also coordinated with Jacob Ray, the city's traffic engineer. He reviewed all of our assumptions before we finished the study, and then reviewed the study after we were completed and agreed with the conclusions of it. I'll flip through these pretty fast. These are the intersections that were analyzed. Creasy Springs and Brown School Road. We're not tying into that directly, but it's adjacent to the tract. It's a very high-level service, as well as Clearview Road and Brown School Road, and then our 3 street connections into those 2 roadways. All of those intersections will continue to operate at a level service B or higher. We did do a lot of work on the site distance. The 35 and 40 mile an hour posted speed limits have recommended minimums of 390 and 445 feet respectively. We're in the 700s on a couple of those and 500s on others. And so we exceed all those limits. In fact, if you were to back that the other direction with the sight distance we attained at these 3 intersections, it would support higher speed limits for those things. Not that we're suggesting higher speed limits, we're not suggesting that, but in the context of when you have speeders on a roadway, what are the impacts? And so we wanted to see how close to those minimums we were. And then we did go through MoDOT's turn lane guidance as far as when right turns and lanes and left turn lanes are needed. This is technical information that I won't bore you with, but those dots plotted on that needed to be to the left of the orange lines in order to not need a meet a warrant for those turn lanes. And then finally, we did a review of the crash history over the last 5 years and didn't find a significant history. There were a few crashes, but most of those were minor in nature and really related to factors outside the roadway. With that, I will answer any questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions for this speaker? Commissioner Gray?
Yes, thank you. I had a question about the number of dwellings being served that's over 300, or over 30 dwellings.
30
yes.
lots, yes.
And to your knowledge, is that just due to fire code?
I don't know for sure the history on why that ordinance is written that way. In fact, the language in it, I think, is a little bit ambiguous because it appears to draw from the fire code. And the fire code is meant for a single access roadway. So if a single access point. It says, in the city's code says something to the effect of any roadway segment shouldn't exceed 30 lots unless it has an additional access. So we have 2 accesses, so in some ways that satisfies that. It was a little bit of a gray area, so since we were asking for the other design adjustments, we went ahead and wanted to clarify it in this case.
Thank you. My follow-up question, the UDC also mentions in that street section in 5.1-1, a connectivity index. Did you calculate one for this particular plat?
I have not calculated one for this particular plat. I believe, I'm trying to think how the terminology, I don't have the terminology in front of me. Because of the way it was laid out, that didn't apply in this case. I'd have to double check that.
Okay.
So.
I'll ask follow-up questions of staff. Thank you.
Sure.
Commissioner Dar, did I see your hand?
Yeah, so for the traffic study, this is kind of came up recently on Rockaway Road. So I appreciate your attention to detail specifically for the access points and maintaining that sight distance. And the intersection, all of the delays look good. But the same thing I've seen on a lot of studies, there's really no, it doesn't address the nature of the existing road as far as the horizontal and vertical geometry and the cross-section, as far as what is typical for a collector road. So you're assuming that these collector roads can handle a certain amount of traffic, but they really aren't, they're historical roads, they've been there for a long time, but they really don't meet the standards that are supposed to be for those types of road if you're building it new.
Yeah, they don't meet the design standards of today's design criteria as far as the horizontal and, well, this one may meet the horizontal geometry.
Well, yeah.
But the vertical geometry of that. However, that's true of most roads that were built. Most historic roads are like that until they get rebuilt. It's very possible that these roads will get rebuilt at some point. To ask a single development, whether it's this one or a future one coming across the street, correct some of those issues that are not causing, that we don't anticipate will cause additional safety issues just because of the incremental increase in traffic, doesn't seem appropriate for one development to bear that burden. when it's,
I definitely agree. I wouldn't want to put it all on this particular development, and we really don't have a good mechanism for like paying an incremental share or having a long-term plan on what those improvements would be and what the ultimate cost would be to bring it up to current standards. So I'm not suggesting that we need to improve all these roads to 2026 collector street standards or anything, and that this development needs to pay for it. But it is something to think about in the future, I think, about when we look at these traffic studies and say, oh, there's no impact to the roads, it's like, well, yeah, the delays at the intersections are fine, or the site distance is fine, but it's not in all aspects fine, in my opinion. So, anyway, my second question was, the trail connections, which I don't have any problem with this layout. I think it's a great layout. As somebody who designs subdivisions, when the UDC came out and introduced those connectivity indexes and all these connections and the 30 lots off of one connection and all this stuff that was super strict and that, you know, it was a real struggle to get these subdivisions, and this is a completely fine subdivision in my opinion. But the trail connections, which I like that you're trying to provide those pedestrian connections, why is it aggregate? Why aren't we paving that?
that was just the choice that we made at the time. I don't,
I feel like long-term maintenance, you know, if it was in a nature area,
Yeah.
like if it was the trail that's along the creek, yeah, that's fine. But right next to houses, I feel like in 10 years, if you just aggregate, like, is the homeowners association going to come and make sure it's, you know, re-gravelled or whatever, you know? So I feel like it should be
I think
paved.
that's a fair point, and I can talk to my client about that to see if, I know that he has done this in one other location, and where the slopes got steeper, he elected to pave those because of the maintenance issues. And so these, we don't, you know, we're at the preliminary plat stage, so we don't know the final grades on all those. It's possible that he will come back and elect and do that, but we just haven't committed to it at this point.
Yeah. Okay, that was just something that I was thinking about that might be an improvement, but that's all I had.
Commissioner Grayball?
Yes, thank you. Thank you again. I'm just wondering about the points where Stone Creek connects both on Brown School Road and Creasy Springs. If there's, and just to build on what Cody was mentioning earlier about the existing roads, if there's a future increase of traffic that would maybe necessitate adding some kind of turning lanes, you mentioned in the traffic study that currently there isn't, and the graph you showed had
Right.
points that you didn't want to go into, and thank you for not.
And
but-
I can go into this
No
if you
worries,
want.
but is that, in the future, though, is that even possible with the placement of those two points based off of the traffic study, or?
So, yes, it would be possible to add right turn lanes to those. In the future, when the road's improved, I'd say there's a good chance that the vertical alignment will change some as well, which would impact that. But right turn lanes would be possible to add. We are dedicating additional right-of-way to bring that out to a collector road standard, and that would allow for that as well.
Thank you.
Any other questions for the speaker? Commissioner Stockton?
I just was curious about the existing pond on the site. Is that what you're using for stormwater collection as a detention pond?
We do intend to use it for detention
Okay.
as part of this,
Okay,
yes.
okay. And I assume you're engineer, you've done the calcs on this as far as that will grow, I assume, with some
But
impervious pavement and everything.
So we're at the preliminary plat stage, so we haven't done the final calculations on that. But we have done some preliminary calculations, and there's enough surface area on the lake that it will just take an incremental storage volume on top of that.
Okay.
We don't anticipate having to grow the lake, the surface area of the lake anymore, but we'll probably have to change the outlet structure to change how that water's controlled as it
Okay,
leaves.
okay, just making sure.
Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you.
Next member of the public. Please come forward, name and address for the record,
Yes,
and you'll have to pull that down to you. Thank you.
okay, is that better?
Yes.
Yes, it's Dr. Barbara Wright, 5650 North Wilderness Way, Columbia, and I'm here to give a personal perspective on the concerns about this development and public safety. We're not diametrically opposed to bringing in single-family homes, but there must be proper infrastructure in place before this ever occurs. Our concerns and questions for this commission are that neither Creasy Springs or Brown School Road were developed for this type of traffic that hits that road every day. We have heavy truck traffic, and the road is maintained by the county. They do a good job, but they're constantly having to repair and maintain both of these roads. Has this commission and the city reached some type of agreement with the county to maintain road repair, provide adequate vegetation and weed removal for good visibility, and for snow plowing? And due to the lack of the shoulders on either road bordering this proposed subdivision, there's not sufficient width to safely support a large truck and a typical vehicle, not less, and let alone two large vehicles passing one another without crowding the steep bar ditches on each side of the road. The subdivision will front the narrowest part of Brown School Road, which is only 21 foot wide from Clearview to Creasy Springs. There is a visible narrowing of the road as you come across the Clearview intersection. Currently, pedestrians walk in the traffic lane on Brown School Road east from Clearview Road to Providence Road, where sidewalk access begins. Where will the sidewalks connect to those on Providence? If proper road construction is not present, there will be no place for safe and efficient ingress and egress for vehicles at Daly. No turn lanes are proposed, and the infrastructure layout needs to include things like the 4 lanes that are integrated into turn lanes on Brown School east of Highway 763. Looking at the current traffic impact study, it was only 45 minutes in the morning and 45 minutes in the afternoon, 2 days for 2 days, which were the same day of the week, and it doesn't actually address the active traffic load or pedestrian flow. A 7-day, 24-hour per day minimum study should have been conducted. It doesn't address the major collector status or the amount of heavy truck traffic hauling rock to the landfill, delivery of rock to the asphalt plant off of VV or waste management vehicles. The limited site visibility will be a safety issue, especially with vehicles traveling 40 miles an hour over the dips in Brown School Road and having to come to a quick stop for traffic entering and exiting this new development. There is potential liability there. Is there a plan to provide sufficient infrastructure to address adequate fire protection? Who
Ma'am,
provides that now?
I'm sorry, that's your 3 minutes. Can you wrap up for me?
Yeah, there is also a flooding issue, as we noticed today. The roads, Brown School and Blackfoot, Creasy Springs were closed. If you have to get out of the subdivision, you're going to have to go to Mahler Road, or you're going to have to travel through both Creasy Springs, Clearview, or Cross Creek to get back to Brown School or 763. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Are there any questions for this speaker?
Thank you.
Commissioner Stockton, hang on. Ma'am, sorry. I'm sorry.
I'll give you a bone here. Can you talk a little bit more about fire protection? Good question.
Yeah, looking at, as you travel, I'm directionally challenged. As you travel west on Brown School, I don't believe there is more than 1 or 2 fire hydrants for the 6 basic structures that are there now. And not knowing what the capacity for the water lines are for that and the ability to support protection for another 142 units without some kind of development is necessary, I think.
Okay, thank you. I might lean on the city to
Pardon me?
resolve that for you, but thank you for.
Thank you. Any other questions, Commissioner Gray?
Hi, thank you. I just wanted to clarify, so your concerns are mostly with the proposed design adjustments, and you feeling like there are not enough mitigation efforts to address infrastructure and safety?
Correct. I think there's, we're not against the development. It's just we don't have the proper infrastructure on a rural historic road that is going to be, that has become a major collector road. And we get a lot of traffic. We travel that road, Brown School daily, and Brown School to Creasy Springs, and Creasy Springs at least 2 or 3 times a week. The amount of traffic is considerable, and I don't know that the traffic study took that into consideration. There is just a lot of vehicular traffic that would be subjected to more with the number of houses that would come into. Brown School has become such a thoroughfare from the west side of town to midtown. So I don't know if that.
Sure, a follow-up. I want to make sure that I'm understanding your perspective versus what you feel like the traffic impact study is not taking into account.
I don't believe that 15 or 45 minutes in the morning and 45 minutes in the afternoon on 2 separate days, like both were Tuesdays, really looked at the amount of heavy trucks that travel that road carrying rock, the amount of traffic that is on a day-to-day basis. I can assure you, I probably am not out at 7:15 in the morning every morning, but 2 o'clock, there's a lot of traffic on that road coming and going. It just, we're going to get more traffic from the subdivision. If you look at 1 car per house, and 50% are probably going to go on Brown School, 50% go on Creasy Springs, it's going to increase the number. The safety issue of being able to turn left going west on Brown School with people coming down the dips of the hills, that's a concern for a crash or collision. People pulling out right. There is not a good sight. And I know that's been looked at, but it's still a concern as a person who drives that on a daily basis.
Sure. My last question, I think, thank you. If there were mitigation efforts such as a right turning lane or things that account for sight distance, would you be in support of this?
Yeah, I'm not opposed to the development. It's that there's the lack of infrastructure to support the additional traffic and the impact on that road. Like I said, the county does a good job of maintaining it. But how is that going to, is the county going to be the sole supporter of that maintenance of that road with the annexation into the city? I guess is a question I have for you all.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you for being here tonight. Next person, please come forward, name and address for the record, and we'll give you 3 minutes.
I'm Dr. John Schultz. I live on North Clearview Road, 5430. I apologize for not having any prepared comments. I've lived at this address for 45 years, and I've seen the traffic on Brown School Road and Creasy Springs increase almost exponentially the last few years. No amount of traffic assessment study is going to document what I've seen firsthand as I go up and down that road multiple times a day. I used to ride my bicycle on that road, my wife did too, on the way to work. If you live in this part of town and you want to go to the mall or any place in that part of town, those are the roads you take. Right now, there's dump trucks, there's semi-trucks, I'm talking large semi-trucks, there's farm trucks, farm equipment, and there's hundreds of houses up in the Clearview subdivision that also use that road. As the previous speaker said, there's numerous pedestrians that also use that road at their own risk and peril. And this is no minor detail. I'd also like to draw attention to the fact that that lake was, in my opinion, I've done some hydrology work in the past, I'm uncertain that that lake is able to take the effects, use that as a stormwater basin. Right now, that lake was meant as a recreational lake and mainly for livestock watering. The additional impervious surface, I'm uncertain whether or not that lake's going to be able to withstand it. Given the amount of flooding we've had, and Blackfoot Road is routinely closed every time we have over an inch of rain, that's going to mean more road closures. And I'm not against the development, but I think there's some serious thought needs to be given in coordination with other agencies. And if we're going to build this development, whether or not, how we're going to adjust that road. Right now, someone's gonna get killed there. I mean, I encourage any of you, any time of the day when there's daylight, to go down that road. You're gonna see dump trucks with tons and tons of rock that can barely fit on one lane of road. And you go up and down those hills, and if there's some poor kid walking to Mosier's grocery store, this isn't something that's a traffic assessment study that we've seen here actually captures. I like to say, I'm for development. I think this is a good idea. But we can't say, I want to hold this back and not do anything about this road.
Thank you. Yeah.
That's all.
Can you tell me, where is Blackfoot? I'm not familiar with
It's actually
that.
just off the map on your screen, I believe down Obermiller. It's like a connection back to the rock quarry off of Stadium.
That floods every time it rains. And plus, the development on South Creasy Springs also is flooding into that, so that's closed almost on a regular basis.
Okay,
And that's
I
the
see.
primary way into town.
Yeah. Any other questions for this speaker? Commissioner Gray?
Hi, thank you. Again, asking a similar question that I just asked. What mitigation efforts would you want to see or need to see in order to be in support of this development?
I'd hate to put the entire onus on the developer, but there needs to be a broader perspective given to this part of town as we increase development. Because turn lanes and other things like that, that's a great idea, but as the previous speaker said, there's no ditches, there's no shoulders, there's a drop-off in places that's 5 or 6 feet. So without some type of mitigation on the road, I don't know how you're going to do this. And right now, the road's dangerous, and add more traffic to that, I'm not sure a turn lane is gonna speed that up, because the dump trucks, and I'm not against dump trucks either, but they need to get out of the quarry. But the challenge is that those two roads cannot handle the existing traffic as it is now. So how we mitigate that, I'm uncertain. I hope that's part of your responsibility in talking with other agencies. How do we develop out into the county and not just say, well, it's an old road, live with it? I think that's unacceptable.
Thank you. And just, sorry, can you clarify, when you say the road cannot handle it, what exactly do you mean?
The amount of traffic. Two dump trucks, about 2 years ago, a dump truck rolled over on Brown School Road because it had to swerve to miss another car, and it dumped its load in the ditch. And you can go there and see where it is right now. That load of rock is still there. So this isn't something that's in my imagination.
Oh, I'm not
No,
assuming that it
I'm
is.
I'm telling all of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so predominantly the street width is the problem for you?
Currently dangerous, right. So adding more traffic to it just is gonna compound the situation.
Great, thank you.
Any other, Commissioner Dar and then Commissioner Brodsky?
I would just offer, as far as on the pedestrian issue, this will be an improvement since there will be sidewalk built along their frontage along Brown School and Creasy Springs, so that would be an improvement.
That's a great idea. How do you get from their development to where the sidewalk starts on Brown School Road?
That's always the issue, right? But you only can do what's in front of your property.
I get that.
I mean,
So-
you should only be responsible in a situation like this, at least
So
from my
I'm not
perspective.
asking the developer to build the sidewalk. I'm asking you to think about how we develop this connectivity so that we don't have people walking on that road. Because they need to get to the grocery store. There's a lot of poor people that live in the Clearview neighborhood. Okay.
Commissioner Brodsky?
Just following up from Commissioner Gray's questions about, just what in your mind makes this road dangerous? So I'm hearing the width, lack of shoulder, and it sounds like I keep hearing the word dump trucks and semi-trucks. So it seems like it's the type of vehicles that regularly travel this road.
And
Is-
also the
is
topography of the road.
the up-
There's very steep hills, blind hills, you can't see oncoming traffic. And the amount of semi-trucks too, I mean, it's just not dump trucks, but I mean, we're talking a narrow road that was never designed for the traffic it's currently carrying, and we're going to add additional traffic to it. So,
The dump trucks, I think it's pretty clear where that's coming from, the quarry to the south. Semi-trucks, where are they coming and going from?
well, that's a good question. Right now, as dump trucks need more and more wherever they're going, they're carrying rock and semi-trucks now. Also, there's farm trucks, and depending upon the traffic, semis now have learned to use Google Maps, and they use it as a shortcut to get through town if they're coming from the north to I-70. And that amount of traffic is picking up more and more.
And they're
You wonder
avoiding
why
the
a
70,
semi-truck
60
is
for
going down this
anything.
farm road, and you see it's, you know, it's a certain brand name of a truck. So,
Thank you.
yep.
Any other questions for the speaker? Thank you very much. Next, please come forward.
Hi, my name's Stephanie Huffman. My address is 6900 North O'Neill Road. I go up and down these roads every day. To add 147 houses and say that it's not going to affect the traffic is not correct. So I have the same concerns that they had with the traffic. I would suggest maybe adding a city bus to go out to that subdivision to help with some of the pedestrian traffic, because there will be pedestrian traffic and there will be fatalities. And it's horrifying to me that we're considering this without fixing the roads. I didn't prepare anything else. That's all I had.
Thank you. You did great. Any questions for this speaker? Commissioner Brodsky?
Real quick, you're the second speaker that's mentioned pedestrians.
Yeah.
Are these existing pedestrians coming from the Clearview neighborhood going to the Mosers?
They're also coming from the neighborhood that's down Creasy Springs. I don't know what that's called over there, but they'll come up Creasy Springs and then down Brown School.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you for being here. Next speaker.
Hello, Mike Zweifel, 520 Sackett's Road, Columbia address. I just wanted to point out, since it wasn't mentioned in the presentation from Rusty, that I was the one that provided the public correspondence that was added to the agenda. And in that public correspondence, you will see 4 images of what the intersection look like on Brown School Road and, I'm sorry, I think Stonebridge is the longer road closer to Creasy Springs, as it is currently. And I realize there'll be improvements with sidewalks and everything like that, but my main concern would be is if the intersection is at the entrance that is in the images where you see the signpost, you have that bump coming right over the hill, and it's very hard to see oncoming traffic coming from Creasy Springs going east on Brown School Road. So that's a traffic concern I would have there, especially with the dump trucks that regularly are on Brown School Road. I see them every day. I drive the road 4 out of 5 days during the week. They are there. I realize it's not computational data, it's observational data, but it is, I think, significant because I've been driving that road for 20 years, coming from Clearview. So I think there are safety concerns to maybe address any sort of I'm not opposed to it, and I'll say that again. Even a mitigating factor, maybe putting a stop sign there at that new intersection there. I mean, something. So I think something should be done. The stop sign might be the simplest way to do it, most cost effective, at least have something there. I know when Blue Ridge came out to Creasy Springs, they put up stop signs on both sides of the road and had little flags up so people could get used to having a stop sign there. And I think that would probably keep costs down as well. Would I prefer a turn lane into the subdivision? Yes, but it doesn't sound like that's really an option. And anyway, so that was that. And then I had a question for on the staff report. I kept seeing up on the presentation, it said no adverse impacts on public health and safety, but then in the report itself, it says no significant adverse impacts on public health and safety. So I would prefer some clarification, whether it's supposed to be no adverse effects or no significant adverse effects, please. So.
Thank you. Any questions for this speaker? Seeing none, thank you. Next speaker.
Good evening, my name is Paul Boomer. I live at 4756 Reamer Road in unincorporated Boone County, about half a mile west of this plat. I'm not here to oppose this development, and I'm not asking you to deny the design adjustments. Given what is in your packet, fewer entrances onto Brown School Road is the right call. My concern is Brown School Road itself and how it was measured. 5 separate times, the applicant and staff say connections to these roads cannot be added because site distance cannot be achieved. Staff writes that the vertical alignment of Brown School limits any opportunity for connections. The applicant cites the lack of locations to safely tie into the perimeter roadways. That constraint is used 4 pages in a row to justify waivers. And then the same packet states no off-site improvements are needed and no capital projects are listed for either road. So I looked at how site distance was measured. It was measured in April, in daylight. Another resident submitted, this gentleman who just spoke, photographs from July 26th to the packet. Those photos show vegetation standing taller than a side mirror at a proposed entrance. Additionally, every site distance figure was calculated against posted speed. The applicant's own worksheet says to use the greatest of anticipated speed, operating speed, measured 85th percentile speed, or posted speed. They used posted. No speed study was performed. I've watched drivers take those crests fast enough to catch air. I'm not going to stand here and estimate the speed for you. That's what a speed study is for. Site distance requirements increase with speed. If actual speeds run above 40, every number in that analysis moves. That measurement was taken in April before the leaves came in. It will be driven in winter, in the dark, for the next 50-plus years. Criterion 5 asks whether these adjustments create any adverse impact on public health and safety. Staff answers it with emergency access and environmental impact. Site distance never comes up. I'm not asking you to table this. I'm asking you to attach 2 conditions before the final plat. First, re-verify site distance with vegetation at full growth like it is right now. Common Law 5 already covers that corner. I'm asking that the maintenance obligation be written into it and that site triangle easements be added where the sight lines run past it. Second, require a speed study using measured 85th percentile speeds and rerun the site distance and turn lane analysis against that number. Before you make that public safety finding, I'd ask that someone measure the road it depends on. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions for this speaker? Commissioner Gray?
Thank you. I'm sorry. I want to make sure I'm understanding your argument. So are you saying that because speed is not being measured appropriately, then the mitigation efforts that are not here? Yeah, can you help me with that logic a little bit?
Of course. As it's been said many times, the size of that road is one thing. The speed is another thing. People go down that road above 40 all the time. And because of that, that increases the potential for more and more accidents and more deadly accidents. Does that answer your question?
Sure, but I'm also thinking about a resident not necessarily speeding through their own neighborhood. So how, I guess I'm not really clear about the connection between these potential residents also speeding or adding to the number of cars.
Got it. Adding to the number of cars is one thing, but when you turn out of a residential area, especially on that road because the width is so narrow, turning right, let's say on Brown School Road, and somebody's speeding up on coming the opposite way, if that person just goes over that middle line just a little bit, there's potential for something drastic to happen. And so the more times you have people going in and out of those entrances, the more and more that increase, the possibility of accidents can increase. And so the speed, the measurements, now there was a table in there that I was surprised about. It said the maximum speed to meet the site distance study. I hadn't seen that. Why I didn't see it kind of concerns me, why it wasn't in the packet. And I was surprised by the numbers. Somebody going 60 miles an hour down Brown School, with additional people turning left off of Brown School into the subdivision, or turning right or left out of the subdivision, the plat. Somebody going 55 plus miles an hour, are they able to stop?
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for the speaker? Seeing none, thank you for being here tonight. Anyone else to speak on this case? Please come forward. Seeing none, we will close public comment and go to commissioner comment. Commissioner Gray and Commissioner Dar, I'm sorry I did not see your hands during staff questions earlier. Would you like to ask your questions of staff now?
I think I've gotten most of the answers, but I do have some follow-up questions. Thank
Go ahead, Commissioner Gray.
There was quite a bit of public testimony about certain roads being county roads. Is that, could you tell me more about the designation of these roads?
Both of them are county-maintained, and then the kind of trigger for them being converted or handed over to the city for maintenance is clearly not being met here because we're not discussing it. I don't know what that trigger would be, like what volume of traffic or what, number of city homes or properties that would require. But at some point, as this area develops out, that street would likely be transferred into city ownership for maintenance. And then also, as things develop out, you do get the incremental sidewalk improvements and just general other street improvements. And of course, as additional traffic would come online, again, like based on this traffic study, this development alone is not enough to trigger any improvements, but the next one may very well be the added, trigger that's needed for those things. So it's a chicken or the egg thing that we deal with all the time. Development sometimes happens before the infrastructure is there. That's how we get the infrastructure, though. So it's, this is on the cutting edge of development in that direction, and so
Yeah.
that's, that's the issue we have to deal with, being the first person in a long time to develop something out on this part of town.
Sure. So I'm thinking about previous scenarios that kind of echo this, where we would say like, oh, these improvements would need to be on a capital improvement project, but because this is a county road, that until the threshold is met, that can't happen.
Well, it's the same process in the county, just,
Oh.
it's handled a little differently because it's in the county, but generally it's the same. They have a capital improvement plan as well. I'm not exactly sure where they're at with that one, but like he said, one of the speakers said it's not on a short-range capital improvement plan as of yet, so.
Short range for the county?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and again, as development happens, it will move up the scale
Right.
on that list. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, yes. I wanted to also clarify about the number of dwellings that are served
Yeah.
in the UDC. Is that due to fire, or is there other
So,
considerations?
Yeah, it's based on the fire code, which states that you have to have a second point of access, as the speaker mentioned. The street section and the connectivity section says no individual street segment can serve more than 30 lots. It doesn't mention anything about access points. So the assumption is that a street segment has two ends, but it does not take into account what those ends are connected to or not connected to. That's the hangup, really, with what the applicant mentioned as, he said that he thought it was met because it connects to two four-way intersections. I tend to agree with him, but the interpretation of the code is that no street segment at all can serve more than 30 lots. That's the reason that we required the design adjustment here.
Okay, thank you. I'm learning a lot of things.
Me
And
too.
I think my last question, is there a reason why they wouldn't need to provide that connectivity index calculation in this scenario?
Honestly, it's been a minute. since I reviewed that component. I believe the internal connectivity meets the connectivity requirements. It's just not the external connection out. So the design adjustment is addressing the same issue that would be in the connectivity index calculation, if that makes any sense.
So the connectivity index is addressing external connectivity, not internal?
Well, that's the deficiency. The
Okay.
internal, I think, it meets the index requirements. It's the external, because you're limited to just the two entrances into the main portion of the development, and that's where it would probably fall short.
Okay, and just off the top of your head, do you know what goes into that connectivity index calculation?
I couldn't describe it to you. It's got some like coefficients, things that are based on traffic engineering standards, so.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Dar?
I don't have the questions, but I would just, I guess, make my statement. I'm in support of this. I mean, it's always a little bit nervous when you got these old roads that aren't up to current standards, but this is how these roads get improved, is the development starts occurring, and the improvements will happen, hopefully sooner rather than later. Hopefully, the city takes that seriously as they're evaluating their capital improvement projects, and the county as well. So I don't really have anything of substance that I'm concerned about on this, other than, just kind of the nature of how development in these subdivisions get built. So I will be in support of it.
Commissioner Stanton?
I agree with every speaker. I used to live out here at Clearview, number one. Number two, I worked for APAC when they repaid Brown Station a number of years ago. And I was flagging and it was dangerous. I mean, it was a very active day for me, standing out there watching the traffic go both ways and the dump trucks and all that. But like my colleagues that said, there will be no improvements to this road if there's no purpose. That's the reality. So this development will basically help you move towards your concerns. It's crazy it has to happen that way, but that's just the reality. They came before us before. The public asked for traffic studies and all of this stuff. They provided it based on people with years upon years and degrees upon degrees in traffic studies and all of that. The numbers, the math, the calculus came out and said this. Is that necessary reality? No. But I'm kind of like, if they're wrong, the blood's on the hands of the engineers. I don't know how else to say that, but the site measurements, the traffic count, all that stuff has been done. It's hard for me to go against what the engineering is telling me. Other than I know reality is different. But the reality, the engineering study is quantitative. They have to stand behind their work. They have to justify what they sat up here and told us. The blood's on their hands if they're wrong.
Commissioner Grayball?
Okay, so I just want to make sure, and I apologize, can I walk me through this if you don't mind? So the process is, last meeting, we approved for this to go in front of the council to be annexed. And now we're being asked to review this so that it'll catch up to that agreement, and the council will hear both at one time. Is that correct?
Yeah, typically, I mean, the intent was to run them concurrently, and because of the advertising issue with the design adjustments on this got held up. So it can happen really any sort of way. It has to be annexed before we can do any other action on it. But,
Okay.
yeah.
So then the next layer is that the road, so Brown School and Creasy Springs Road are both county roads.
Yes.
And so if we wanted to improve the safety features of those roads, the city has to take up ownership of those roads, or we have to ask the county to do that? Am I
Well,
missing-
typically, with a development like this, the developer would install those improvements and pay for them. So then they would have to coordinate with the county, basically, to be allowed to do that work on the road. But this is, I mean, it's no different than if they were to build it in the city, surrounded by the city, and there's a city road. It's just, we give them a right-of-use permit, I'm sure the county does as well, and then they go install it, and then we accept it, and we take maintenance responsibility for it.
Okay, and so not to hold you to this, but I was just wanting clarification, because it sounded like maybe you were suggesting potentially the city would take ownership of, or seek ownership of those roads if this development was to go
Seeking
forward?
ownership's a little strong. I
Okay.
don't know that we would ever proactively seek it, but there is a point at which it just makes sense for us to be maintaining it because everything around it is in the city. Okay. And I don't know exactly when that's triggered, but if you can imagine a county road driving through the middle of the city, this does happen, but, I'm trying to think of an example, but,
Providence.
Yeah.
Providence is a state
Yeah,
road,
yes,
and,
right.
yeah, 763 is another example. But, yeah,
Yeah.
in these smaller roads, there is a point at which the county calls us and is like, it makes sense that you guys take maintenance of this at this point. So I just not sure exactly when that would happen, and, it's hard to say.
Well, I appreciate that. And the reason why I ask is because I'm not quite the newest member on the commission, but pretty close. And so I'm still trying to figure out the order of things. And I agree with all the speakers that shared the safety concerns. And that's why my first question was to ask the engineer about the turning lanes and if there's something that could be done. Because despite that study, I think it's pretty obvious that something would absolutely have to be done to address the traffic concerns. And then the speaker shared a number of different traffic concerns. And I'm very sympathetic to that and think that it's a real concern. It just seems like it almost seems weird that we would go forward with the whole development without making some of those suggested changes a part of it or up front. It seems like that you would want to do those part and parcel, not one and then let's wait and see. I don't know if there's other things that could be done ahead of time. I mean, Mike mentioned stop signs potentially as one way of doing it. There was a suggestion about maybe going a little bit further in depth in some of the studies, if that would be helpful as well. Those seem like decent suggestions. And that really butts up against this development that I think is something that should happen. I think this, and all the speakers, I think, said that it should happen, that this is a really good idea, development site to build some much-needed homes. But it just seems odd to me that we would all agree but ignore the safety concerns behind it. So I don't know if there is something else that can run parallel with that might be suggested or something along those lines to remediate those concerns.
Commissioner Walters?
I wanted to kind of follow up on your discussion in Rusty's, but this plat does show a dedicated 33-foot right-of-way along both of these perimeter streets. And so this is a step towards an eventual 66-foot right-of-way, with the other half being claimed from the property owners on the adjacent side. And the 66-foot right-of-way is to accommodate a 50-foot wide street? Or a 38-foot wide street? Anyway,
I can't remember the
to
standard.
accommodate a bigger street yet to come.
Right.
So while it's certainly is up in the air in terms of when this will occur, it probably won't occur for 5 or 10 years. The fact that the dedication is required is an important step to making this happen. And I know that was kind of glossed over or even omitted in some of the prior discussions. So I thought it was worth mentioning that at least that is part of the plat, that it's there, and that it's given towards whatever entity might want to build a street there, whether it's the county or the city. As probably will happen, it will be the city. For a point of clarification, that's all.
So, I think that if the day after this gets approved and they break ground, we have 140 some odd new houses, these concerns might be more salient. These developments rarely develop like that all at once. They tend to develop in phases. They tend to develop as people buy the lot and decide the finishes on their home and such. And I think that one of the things that I see likely to happen is as it's getting built out, the pressure increases to widen the road, install shoulders, especially as sidewalks are getting put in. And then we see we've got an R1 lot to the east that is already annexed into the city. And so we're likely to see similar development there, which will also increase the pressure. And I was actually out there visiting a friend who lives at the bottom of the map last week, and I was like, wow, there are some people whose driveways back onto Creasy Springs closer to town. And it's really scary for me to be like, because they're parking on the street, on Creasy Springs. So I think that the pressure is mounting. I think that the concerns are legitimate. But as this development gets built out in phases, I think that's what's going to actually get these improvements done. This is yet another example of the tension between development happens where development hasn't happened before. So the roads aren't improved yet. That's why it's ripe for development, because that's where things are moving. So we can't, as a city, keep saying the road isn't ready, so we can't develop, because that leads to this Public Works and the county's, roads department saying, there's nobody out there, there's nothing to improve. So it's a recognized tension. It's something that we deal with all the time. But I think that part of the pattern that I'm seeing is everyone's envisioning, 400 or 140 some odd cars showing up tomorrow. And that's not the reality any more than it's the reality that people drive 40 miles an hour down Brown School Road. They don't, and they won't be. So I'm entitled to, or I'm not entitled, I'm inclined, is the word that I was looking for, to support this, because I think that it's the exact kind of development that we need. It's appropriate for the area. It's being done with an eye toward keeping the lake and improving the water flow and improving the sewer connections out on that part of town. And I think that approving it will actually put the pressure in place that we need to fix Creasy Springs and Brown School and get them up to standard. So for those reasons, I'm supportive generally. Any other comments? Commissioner Lowe and then Commissioner Brodsky.
Yeah, I think in general, I used to live in the Clearview neighborhood as well, and this Brown School can be a little exciting in a bad way at times, in a lot of cases. And I understand with the dump trucks and things like that, I had to navigate that too, and it's not particularly pleasant on that narrow stretch. With that being said, I think this development is developing with an eye toward that, doing the best they can with what they have on the moment. I really like to see the pedestrian connections and such, particularly since this is relatively close to transit stops. The other thing too, that I think is part of this conversation in terms of the which comes first, development or the road discussion, is that in a lot of ways, my understanding is that adding more traffic to the road where you get it closer to capacity a lot of times improves the safety of that road for each individual travel, because you slow the speeds down, because it's hard to go fast and stop and go traffic. And with that in mind, I think, like in general, I think they're developing this with an eye towards it. My one concern would kind of be, I'd hate to see, the developer, go ahead and spend all the money to put the sidewalks in and then them have to redo all of it as soon as the road's improved. But yeah, in general, I think they've done a decent job of this, and I'm probably going to support this one.
Anyone else? Oh, Commissioner Brodsky, I saw your hand.
I looked up just where the county maintenance, city maintenance starts and begins, just for everyone's knowledge. The city maintenance ends at that Clearview Road on Brown Station, and it's county every west of that. And then on Creasy Springs, south of Obermiller, is city maintenance, and north of that is county. I do plan to support this. I know I took a slightly different stance with the rock quarry development for a host of reasons. But I do also want to remind the commission that this is just a plating action. We're not really deciding tonight whether or not this is going to be annexed or if this is going to be zoned. It's just a plat. I would, for the developer, when you go to city council, if I were on council, I would like to see that turn lane study done at slightly higher speeds, just to better match the reality on that road. But other than that, I do plan to support this.
Commissioner Stockton, did I see?
Yeah, I haven't spoken yet. I was gonna bounce the question, not to put you on the spot here, but the question about the impact to health and safety that one of the residents had.
Yeah.
And followed, if you can cover the fire protection. I'm sure you've looked at it, but.
Well,
could you
what
elaborate on that?
aspect of fire protection do you mean?
I think she was talking about the frequency of the hydrants along.
Oh, yeah,
School.
I believe it's 400 feet, and that's part of our standard requirement that comes up in the building permitting process. They will be installed. In terms of the adverse impacts question, it was really just a word choice. The fact of the matter is, the code says no adverse impacts. The fact that you're building next to a lot is an impact, so it's a bit, I can't think of the right word, but objectively, that's not really possible. So I believe it was just a word choice of mine, just to kind of frame that a little differently. There's no significant impacts, because zero impact is just not even really realistic, so
Possible.
that's the difference.
Okay, that helps. I too see the potential like growth and dangers here, grew up in, on country roads as well and know the danger. I think it's just a broader question. We're all kind of hitting on this, like chicken egg, I'm a planner, so, albeit all the money in the world, I'd prefer to put in the proper infrastructure before we do this, but I know there's logistics. This is, a county road. I think we just need to look more broadly, because this is probably going to keep happening on the sequence. And I was just kind of zooming to other cities and municipalities I've lived in and noticing there are some rural developments that some have turn lanes, some don't, and it could have to do with the traffic study. But these are in fairly flat areas too, so I'm not sure if it's just the amount of money or perhaps a bunch of citizens forced it. But I'd really be curious with some similar communities here in Missouri, like what's driving that and what sequence. So I think as a broader thing, we need to look at that over time and then kind of, I agree with the platting. I agree with more homes, obviously, and I don't want to exacerbate the costs, but it always has to be a balance of safety. So I think that's something
I would just say, we can argue the validity of the traffic study at any point. It's just the only measuring stick that we have. And, we rely on, usually there's a third-party engineer involved, sometimes not. Certain firms in town have their own staff, like Allstate. So we rely on that study because it is the only measuring stick, and our traffic engineer evaluated that, and the traffic study indicated that the level of service was not impacted to a point that additional improvements were required. As they noted in their report, I believe the level of service A and B, and we often see some intersections at the C and D level that have very minimal improvements proposed. But that being said, had the traffic study suggested those improvements, we would be having them on this plat. So that is our mechanism for triggering those. It's just not the case in this case. So.
I understand, yeah. empirical data versus, like how are we supposed to deviate? And I did look, for the record, at like a lot of large-scale apartment developments, all around town. I realize they're not maybe as fast as speed, and certainly maybe not as many dump trucks, but a lot of traffic. And it looks like a lot of those, I could have swore they had turn lanes into them, but they don't. A lot of them that I looked into here in town, and as far as I know, they aren't highly hazardous. Maybe people just learn to watch. But I think we could look at some of those too and see, what's worked in our own community in the past and where there needs to be improvements. Okay.
Commissioner Gray?
Okay, I think I'm going to get my thoughts together. I have lost the plot a little bit, so I'm going to go back to the criteria, as is my favorite thing to do. So as Commissioner Brodsky said, this is a plating decision, which we're looking at lot configuration, street pattern, public spaces, common areas, and easements. Then we have the two design adjustments about service to more than 30 dwellings and greater than, what was the number of feet?
600.
600, thank you. And the criteria that are listed for those design adjustments, alignment with the comprehensive plan, adverse impacts, dangerous for traffic, automobiles, pedestrians, site features, design, public health, safety. I think I lost the plot as I was thinking about the traffic impact study and adequate infrastructure. Those are not things that we're taking into consideration with the plat generally. If those are coming into concern with the particular design adjustments, those would be criteria that we take into consideration, correct? I understand that there is frequently a tension between what the traffic impact study says, the metrics for engineering, and I am unwilling, with my limited knowledge of engineering, to go about systemically undermining that. That is not to say that your experience of the road is not real and adequate, and that there are and should be ways to make sure that you feel safer on the roads that you're driving. Unfortunately, that is not within the purview of this particular decision. I want to say this also because I feel like we have gotten into squishy territory in forwarding our decisions to City Council around adequate infrastructure. Again, that is not a criteria for a platting decision. And as I see, as it pertains to the design adjustments, I want to make sure that I, in my decision, am differentiating between adequate in terms of metrics of like capacity. Do the roads have the capacity to carry the number of cars? Is there mitigation needed in order for this design adjustment, et cetera? And so when I look at this design adjustment, I see adequate, if not experientially infuriating or hard to drive conditions. I want to make sure that we are differentiating between dangerous versus different. Roads change, traffic patterns change, things change as growth happens. I'm happy that many people are in support of development, and as my fellow commissioners noted, that we want to do that intentionally and safely, while also understanding that the improvements often follow. It is a kind of weird scenario with the county, and I hope that is something that City Council can note as a concern. I'm curious about with the vegetation as it pertains to, is not relevant to the design adjustment or site distances.
The existing vegetation? No.
Yes.
A lot of the, like, sidewalk improvements are going to remove a lot of that vegetation.
Okay.
And then there are also provisions in the code for site triangle considerations, just general site distance stuff. But yeah, really those sidewalks are going to be the biggest impact. I think a lot of that vegetation has to be moved back off the road. Somebody mentioned they'd hate to see the sidewalks be built and then the road expanded. That is all taken into account. So we're not going to have them build something that will just be torn out in 10 years. So what we may see is either I don't think there's a roadway profile design since it's not on the CIP plan. So what we would likely see, if not sidewalks being built, we would have a fee in lieu paid to construct those ourselves at a later date at their expense.
Great, thank you so much.
Yep.
That being said, I'm going to wrap up my monologue. I plan on supporting this motion.
Any other commissioner comment? Commissioner Stanton?
Thank you, Dr. Gray, for getting us back on track as far as what we're voting on. But I think the conversation was very important because it gives context to city council on the concerns of the people. So I think we serve both sides of the coin, but Dr. Gray, thank you for kind of bringing us back on focus.
Any further comment, or would anyone like to make a motion? Commissioner Walters?
Make the first of two motions.
Yes.
Regarding case number 159-2026, 180 West Brown School Road, I would make the first of two motions. One is to approve the requested design adjustments from section 29-5.1C of the UDC.
Second.
Could I amend that? It's 160,
Oh,
the case number?
yes, the case number on
I
the
was reading
slide
up
is
here.
incorrect.
Oh.
Commissioner Walters, would you do us a favor and restate your motion?
Just restate it. Regarding case number 160-2026, 180 West Brown School Road, I would make a motion to approve the requested design adjustments from section 29-5.1C of the UDC.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Walters, seconded by Commissioner Stanton. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, Commissioner Brodsky, when you're ready, may we have a roll call?
Commissioner Gowey-Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Graybaugh,
Yes.
Commissioner Gray,
Yes.
Commissioner Lowe,
Yes.
Commissioner Stanton,
Yes.
Commissioner Stockton,
Yes.
Commissioner Walters.
Yes.
My vote is yes, and Commissioner Dar.
Yes.
The motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. Would anyone like to make a motion on the plating action? Commissioner Stanton?
As it relates to case 159-20.
160.
160.
Excuse me. As it relates to case 160-2026, 180 West Broadway School Road permanent zoning, I move to approve the proposed preliminary plat pursuant to minor technical corrections.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Stanton and seconded by Commissioner Gray. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, Commissioner Brodsky, when you're ready, may we have a roll call?
Commissioner Gowey-Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Graybaugh,
Yes.
Commissioner Gray,
Yes.
Commissioner Lowe,
Yes.
Commissioner Stanton,
Yes.
Commissioner Stockton,
Yes.
Commissioner Walters.
Yes.
My vote is yes, and Commissioner Dar.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. Those recommendations will be forwarded to City Council. Sorry, I'm losing my voice tonight. Next case, case number 195-2026, a request by Crockett Engineering Agent on behalf of Columbia Mutual Insurance Company owner for approval of a development plan and statement of intent for their PD Plan Development zoned property to be known as the PD Plan Development of Columbia Mutual Insurance Company. The owner's intent is to develop the 19.59 acre subject site with a new office building. The site is located at the southeast corner of Discovery Parkway and Gans Road. The site includes the portion of Track 6 of the Phillips Farm parcel located south of the current terminus of Endeavor Drive. May we please have a staff report?
Yes, you may. Thank you, Madam Chair. Similar to our last case, the public notification letters and ad were circulated on the 22nd of July. In this case, they went to 10 neighboring property owners, most of which are backing up here along the Gans Creek side there. So, moving along. Here's our aerial perspective view. Clearly, you can see, the Father Tolton site, the Perry Phillips Lake Park, over to the kind of northwest of the site. And then, of course, in the bottom left-hand side of the screen is the beginnings of the Bristol Lake neighborhood. The Gans Creek Nature Area being kind of south or bottom central of the screen there, Conservation Department in between the open space and the site. And then, of course, you got the intersection out here of Discovery Ridge and Highway 63. So those are the big ones. I'm playing with the wrong computer again. Track 6, so this was included in Track 6 of the Phillips Farm annexation, which also includes all of the development you see there on Nakona Parkway, Artemis Drive, Endeavor, and so on, including the school. At the time that all of this was annexed, there were some very detailed development agreements and statements of intent for all the PD zoned areas. They had some very stringent standards for things like impervious area totals and also gross floor area, max building footprints, things of that nature. Track 6 was actually spared from a lot of those. It is only subject to the 3 items there at the bottom. So it is limited to a 150 square foot maximum building footprint and also a 250 square foot maximum gross floor area for the entire Track 6, which I'll show you on this next slide, and also a 30% max impervious area. So Track 6 incorporated the 2 out parcels to the north on the east side of Discovery Parkway there. That means that those maximum standards would still apply to the remainder of that, and this is taking up some of that allowed building area, if that makes sense. So the proposed building on the site is a 28,600 square foot office building for Columbia Mutual Insurance Company. It has a 16,600 square foot footprint. The parking proposed, again, a lot of these I'll list out, you'll see on the plan on the next slide. The parking is compliant with the UDC. It is based on the UDC standard of 1 space for every 300 square feet, which would require 95 spaces for the proposed building they have. They are providing 124, 12 of those being bicycle spaces. They bring their total impervious area to 9.4%, so well below the standard, and that will be very clear when you see the site plan. And that leaves over 220,000 square feet of gross floor area, and it also leaves 10% of the site for additional impervious area for the remainder of Track 6 to be further developed in the future. One thing of note here, I know stormwater will be a very important issue, given that the Gans Creek is just south of the site here. And actually, it is just south of Gans Road along this southeastern side of the site. So they have already installed stormwater features on the northern half of Track 6, and there's also one proposed for the southern area that will be taking up some of those impacts created by the proposed building. One thing of note here, so in evaluating this, we compared the 2004 stormwater standards, which were prior to the adoption of the city stormwater standards, and our current standards meet or exceed all of those from the 2004 annexation of this property. And so staff believes that the current stormwater standards, again, they exceed the previous standards, and so we probably no longer need the specific limitations placed on this property that existed from the 2004 annexation and zoning. So, of course, the red outline is our specific site. Again, it's that south side, south end of Track 6. As you can see, they're showing a building in the southwestern corner of that tract. A lot of topo to deal with. And again, having the limited square footage means that the bulk of this site's going to remain undeveloped. They are using some of it for a loop trail that would serve as an amenity to the employees that work here. And the stormwater basin, if you can see my cursor up there, is located at that south eastern corner of the site. Again, that's going to take up a lot of the runoff that's created from the impervious area here and help to protect the Gans Creek, which is right here on the preliminary plat, along with its associated floodplain. Let's see, make sure I got all of that. The proposed statement of intent is very comparable to the 2004 statement of intent. We're just bringing it into the 21st century, so to speak. And it allows the planned office building to be up to 90 feet tall. That, again, is brought forward from that 2004 statement of intent. So if it's a bit out of the ordinary, I think, but that was something that had been contemplated back then when it was annexed. The proposed statement of intent does restrict uses somewhat more than the previous statement of intent. So the previous statement of intent allowed all O1 uses, which included R3 uses and down the line. So this one specifically states that only general office, medical office, and one family and multifamily dwellings are permitted. So there are a slew of office uses like medical labs and there's like counseling centers, things of that nature that are no longer going to be allowed by the proposed statement of intent that would have otherwise been allowed without the rezoning or the current action adopting the new statement of intent. So let's see. So with that, the proposed PD plan and statement of intent are largely consistent with the 2004 approvals. They're also consistent with the current land use context and also the kind of future, the known future development in the area. The comp plan designated this site as employment center, which is right on track with the proposed office building. And the proposed office building is supported by the economic development goals of the comp plan as well. So with that, our recommendation would be for approval of the PD plan and statement of intent. And again, this would be subject to minor technical corrections. Happy to answer any questions.
Before we go to questions for staff, if any of my fellow commissioners have had contact with parties to this case outside of a public hearing, please disclose so now. Or if anyone needs to recuse on this case, please let us know now. Commissioner Stanton.
Madam Chair, I do a lot of work out Discovery Ridge, and just to be safe, I'm going to recuse myself from this case.
Thank you. You are excused. Any questions for staff or other disclosures? Commissioner Gray?
Thank you. I think you may have addressed this, but I just want to make sure that I'm clear. In terms of why this couldn't go under another zoning, is it building height the main thing or additional?
Yeah, I go into a pretty good detail in the report, but basically it would be limited to 45 feet otherwise. And there's the additional setback standards I didn't get into, but they were relying on that. And that's also from the 2004 code. We keep it in our current code, but each additional foot of setback, you get an additional foot of height. And that's where the 90 feet really comes in, because previously it would have been a top cap of 45 or 75. But with the additional setbacks, and I probably should have put these, their setbacks are in like the 200-foot range, so they're well above and beyond anything. So they're doing their best to limit the visual impact. Also, the building will be down the hill a bit, so it'll be also a little more minimized by the fact that it's lower than the roadway, things of that nature. So.
Great. And you said that this is, the update is more restrictive, but in terms of like one family or multifamily residential uses, that would still be permitted in this?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions for staff? Seeing none. none, we will open the floor to public comment. Any members of the public that wish to speak on this case, please come forward, state your name and address for the record. 6 minutes for applicants in the group and 3 minutes for individuals.
Madam Chair, members of the commission, Tim Crockett, Crockett Engineering, 1000 West Nifong. Here tonight representing Columbia Insurance, formerly Columbia Insurance Group. Again, this piece of property is currently zone PD with office uses. This does come from the original 2004 zoning for the Phillips Lake area that had a rather large statement of intent. I believe it's 128 pages or something like that. It's a large document. And this, again, is for Columbia Insurance. They bought this property back in 2010 for this specific purpose. So they've been hanging on to this property. This has been their intention to build their new office complex at this location. They do have their roots in Columbia since 1935. So it is a business that's been here for quite some time. You've seen our location. We're across the street from the higher density development of Discovery with the kitchen and all the other uses that are out there. And as you step down and get a little further closer to Gans Creek and the residences to the south, the intensity of the development changes and gets less intense. Hence the reason for the office uses. I will make one correction, or I think there's a couple corrections I'd like to make in the staff report. First of all, Mr. Palmer talked about track 6, and he calls it everything on the south side. I don't believe that's right. I believe track 7 is on the hard corner. So track 6 is actually smaller than what was depicted. Not that it makes any real difference. I just want to make sure that we discuss that a little bit. Again, this is the PD plan that we're talking about. We're only developing a portion of the site. And we talk about building height. We're looking at a 2-story building. We're not looking to have 90 feet. That was originally approved. We think we have no desire for that. We're looking at a simple 2-story building. The original statement of intent versus what's on the PD plan. Again, our footprint is only 11% of the allowable footprint that's allowed for track 6. And our PD plan also only has 11.4% of the gross floor area that's allowed on the track 6. So we're well under those limitations. Again, building height is 90 feet allowable. We're gonna be less than 35 feet. So we're considerably smaller. Setbacks, the plan exceeds all of our building setbacks. So we're sitting back far enough, we're not gonna have any issue there. Of course, we meet the plan meets the SOI and the city minimums. And our open space, again, 70% open space on track 6. And with this development, we're still gonna have 90+% open space. And then allowable impervious surface, we're allowed 30% and we're at 9.4. And I think the staff report indicated that we have 10.6. I think it's really 20.6 that's left. And of course, there was a traffic study that was done for this entire development, for the entire Bristol development back many years ago, and contemplated high intense office use on this piece of property. So all the improvements that were made had this in mind, which we're going less than that. On top of that, we also completed a traffic study for our intersections just to confirm, not that it was required, but the city did ask if we would entertain that. We did, just to confirm that our access points met city requirements, in which they did. Again, all city utilities are available to the site. So in conclusion, the plan is consistent with the 2004 zoning regulations, and we believe it's appropriate for the area. It's supported by Columbia Imagine with specific to the employment center land use designation, economic goals section. And of course, it's supported by city staff. So with that, we're happy to answer any questions that the commission may have.
Are there any questions for this speaker? Commissioner Gray.
Hi, thank you. I am curious about, so it was mentioned during the staff report that this is a kind of a sensitive area due to the proximity to Gans Creek.
Absolutely.
Can you tell me a little bit about, other than the impervious surface, the efforts toward stormwater retention and how those decisions are made as to what would be adequate in order to not impact?
Okay, absolutely. So there's 2 components to the stormwater regulations. There's detention, which is our quantity, and then we've got quality. And there's basically a matrix that we have to hit a certain level of service for our water quality. And we achieve that level of service by various means, by having native preservation, by using bioretention cells, by doing extended wet detention. So there's varying different degrees of BMPs that we can add to the site, and depending upon what we choose, it gives us a different level of service, or, excuse me, a value rating. That value rating then equates to a level of service that we get on that site. So in 2004, when this was, it was annexed and zoned, the city they didn't have the stormwater regulations they do now. So they implemented a special set of stormwater regulations for all of this area. Well, then 2007 comes along and we adopt a new stormwater regulation, and that regulation exceeds what was implemented out here. So to answer your question, what we try to do is we have to hit a level of service based on how we're developing the site, and then we use the varying degrees of BMPs available to us to achieve that.
Great, thank you so much.
Any other questions for the speaker? I do
Yes,
have a
ma'am.
question. I know one of the things that has always bothered me about this entire area is that we had all these PD plans, and now they're coming back and amending them 20 years later. This one doesn't appear to have had a pre-existing PD plan. Is this the first plan? It had a SOI, but no plan?
That is correct. The statement of intent covered the entire piece of property with tracts of ground. Okay,
Right.
so this piece is just a portion of tract 6. And so tract 6 is basically its own statement of intent. There never has been a PD plan associated with this tract of land. This is the first.
Just making sure I didn't miss something. I, as you know, am not a big fan of PD generally, but I'm really not a fan of here's my whole plan.
Right.
And then I never build it. So I was just making sure I didn't miss something. Thank you, that's helpful. Anybody else? Seeing none? Thank you, Mr. Crockett. Any other member of the public to speak on this case, please come forward.
I'm Max Sell. I live at 3721 East John Cart, which is in the Gans Creek Neighborhood Association. And I basically just have some questions for clarification. I've heard mention of the ability to build a home on this property, a residential, and I want clarification that the planned development is strictly for Columbia Mutual Insurance?
It is. We were just asking what was included in the statement of intent as approved uses, and, but the plan is exactly what was shown. Rusty, can you go back to the PD plan? So that's what they have to build if we approve it,
Okay.
is what's on the screen.
And although the planning was that they could have a building that was up to 90 feet tall, this plant was only, what, 35 feet?
Correct, yeah.
Thank you. Well, another question too. What would be the ingress and the egress to this property from Gans Road,
So,
from Discovery Ridge,
Rusty,
or from
can you
Endeavor?
answer that?
There's one on Gans Road, shown on the plan here. You can't see my cursor, I'm sure, but, and then there's a left turn in off of Discovery that cuts through the median there. And then they would be limited to right turn out only on Discovery. So I believe that's a 3/4 access is what we call it, but they just can't, they can't make I don't even know. Which way would we? Left out, yep, that makes sense.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for the speaker? Seeing none, thank you for being here tonight. Anyone else to speak on this case, please come forward. Seeing none, we will close public comment and go to commissioner comment. Any commissioner comment on this case? Commissioner Brodsky.
I don't think I was on the commission when we annexed and approved these original PD plans, but I was on the commission when we did the stormwater regulations. And I don't think we could ask for a more ideal development on this particular parcel with the Gans Creek as close as it is. As someone that frequents the Gans Wild area. I appreciate the consideration that you guys have put into this, and I am fully supportive.
Anyone else? Any other commissioner comment? If not, would anyone like to make a motion? Commissioner Walters?
Oh, regarding case number 195-2026, the Columbia Mutual Insurance Company PD and statement of intent. I move to approve the proposed PD plan and statement of intent subject to minor technical corrections.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Walters and seconded by Commissioner Gray. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none. Commissioner Brodsky, may we have a roll call?
Commissioner Galway-Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Graybow,
Yes.
Commissioner Gray,
Yes.
Commissioner Lowe,
Yes.
Commissioner Stanton is abstained, Commissioner Stockton,
Yes.
Commissioner Walters.
Yes.
My vote is yes. Commissioner Dar.
Yes.
Motion carries 8-0.
With 8 yes votes and 1 abstention, we will forward that recommendation to City Council. Our next case for the evening, case number 200-2026, a request by Tiffany Shy, agent on behalf of ERS Property Management LLC owner for approval of a conditional use permit to allow 122 North Greenwood Avenue to be used as a short-term rental for a maximum of 6 transient guests up to 210 nights annually pursuant to Section 29-3.3 VV and Section 29-6.4 M2 of the Unified Development Code. The approximately .2 acre subject site is zoned R2 two-family dwelling and is located at the southeast corner of the intersection of North Greenwood Avenue and West Ash Street and includes the address 122 North Greenwood Avenue. May we please have a staff report?
Thank you. So as described before, this short-term rental conditional use permit is for the address here at 122 North Greenwood Ave. As shown in the map, it is the corner property at the intersection between North Greenwood and West Ash Street. It is a .18 acre, and it is coming in front of you because it is under the tier system of 210 nights with requesting 6 transient guests. This is appropriate for applicants whom this is not their primary residence. Early notification postcards were sent out on July 15th. 32 public hearing letters were sent out on the 20th, including one to the West Ash Neighborhood Association, and the Tribune ad was on the 21st of July. This is how the exterior of the house looks like at the intersection here between Ash on the left and Greenwood, which would be farther on the right. The entrance is from Greenwood, but the vehicular access would be from Ash. As shown below, the applicant has improved the driveway so that it is applicable with the 6 transient guests. So our staff had actually measured it out, and it is 29.7 feet wide. This is compliant with the UDC, which requires 8.5 feet wide per parking space. So this is over the 25.5 foot required width. The applicant has also measured 34 feet. That is from the house all the way up to the front of the apron. While some of that is right-of-way, that is still far more than the 18.5 feet length for parking space that is required by the UDC. This property is zoned R2. As said before, it is not the primary residence of the applicant. It is a detached single-family home with 3 bedrooms, and they are requesting 6 transient guests. As shown in that picture, there are 3 spaces currently supported. All of that are on the driveway, which is again accessible via West Ash Street. This property has never been offered as an STR, and additionally, an administratively approved short-term rental at 902 West Ash is within 300 feet away. This previously approved short-term rental was administratively approved because it is tenant occupied. That was who the agent was, and so it did not need to come in front of public hearing. As shown in this image, you can see where the existing short-term rental is. As said before, it's 190 feet. It's just across Greenwood, and there's one house in between, but both access West Ash Street. The existing short-term rental has a long driveway and is a relatively small house. They are only requesting, they did, when they did their application a year ago, 2 transient guests. So there would only be 1 necessary parking spot on that address. The designated agent lives 1.6 miles, approximately 4 minutes from the subject site. 2 letters of support were received by staff. The first one is in everyone's packet, with citing new major exterior improvements, probably that new larger driveway. The more recent letter of support was received yesterday. You all should have a copy of that. And that one has a more extensive list about the high-volume weekends and how this property will be an improvement for the demand that exists for high-volume weekends such as home football games. The staff also received 2 calls about the property, but there were no stated position for these phone calls. In conclusion, conditional use permit analysis supports approval for compliance. The regulations provide oversight and means, and the approval support broad policy strategies and actions within the comp plan. And our staff recommendation is to approve the requested short-term rental. This is subject to the maximum occupancy of 6 transient guests, along with the maximum of 210 nights of annual rental usage for this CUP.
Thank you. Before we go to questions for staff, if any of my fellow commissioners have had any contact with parties to this case outside of a public hearing, please disclose so now. Seeing none, are there any questions? Commissioner Gray.
Hi, thank you. This is, I think, come up before, but do we have a breakdown of like the number of administratively approved versus like CUP STRs within any given ward?
Yes, I actually, along with the other new planner, have formed such a list. I am not sure the exact number right off the top of my head, but there are relatively equal amounts of administratively approved and CUP short-term rentals that have been issued.
In the first ward or broadly?
Broadly, and I believe that is pretty similar in the first ward, but I don't have those numbers in front of me right now.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for staff? Seeing none, oh, sorry, go ahead, Commissioner Lowe.
You noted that with the administratively approved, that was tenant owner, I forget the distinction there, but occupied. Is that still, when it was approved, is that still the case?
Yes, that's still the case.
Okay.
Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you. We will open the floor to public comment. If any members of the public wish to speak on this case, please come forward. State your name and address for the record. We allow 3 minutes for individuals, 6 minutes for groups, and the applicant.
Megan Kitson, 109 North Greenwood. I live 4 houses away from this proposal. I would like to reiterate that we already have several, actually, not already approved, but we have several hosted Airbnbs in our neighborhood on our street within a few blocks. I know we're talking about the one that's within 300 feet. But in general, we are supportive in our neighborhood of hosted Airbnbs where we have owner occupants. We're a tight-knit neighborhood and we want to keep it that way. We're not in favor of commercial operations within our neighborhood. We definitely view this as one. Again, we're supportive of owners hosting guests in their homes, but not supportive of this endeavor. Anyway, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Any questions for this speaker? Oh, Commissioner Gray, go ahead.
Hi, thank you. You said that you're generally supportive of
Hosted Airbnbs.
hosted, so where the owner lives there.
Yes, correct. And we know of several, even that are not on your list and are already operating in our neighborhood. So we're also concerned about the density of short-term rentals in our neighborhood, and one reason why we oppose this.
Okay, and just to make sure I'm clarified, you view the owner-occupied ones as not a commercial venture?
Not a completely commercial venture, no. Not when people are living in their home and making money out of it, just like they would operate perhaps a sewing business out of their home or a home office within their home. It's a
Okay.
little different than someone who's not living in the home.
Yeah, and can you just tell me a little bit about what the impact is to you and your neighbors?
Sure, we have a lot of concerns about traffic. We have a lot of concerns about the density. I'm not sure I understand it right, but that the house is zoned R2, which according to what I read, may be interpreted wrong. That's a maximum of 4 people, unrelated, allowed to live there, and we're applying for 6 here. It seems a little incongruous there. Traffic concerns, the house is right off of Ash, which is a very, very busy road. Got a traffic study going on along that corridor now, and a lot to be reckoned with. The driveway's been expanded. There's now room for 3 cars there. 3 cars backing out against Ash is another major concern, but I know my neighbors have some others.
Okay, thank
Anything
you.
else?
Commissioner Stanton, go ahead.
Good evening.
Hi.
So if this was owner occupied, would your position be different? Because you discussed density, so,
We have several neighbors who own their homes and occupy their homes and run.
so how many would you think are in your neighborhood now? Because density is important to us too, so I want a picture of.
I
is
understand
it
that
the
there's
whole
been a
block,
study done to,
or-
Okay.
there's a lot that I know of that are not on the list that I have that you all know about, so.
Okay.
But just so
Any-
that you're aware, there are a lot more out there that, and if we approve more and more of these, we don't want them taking over our neighborhood.
So,
But we want families in those homes.
so if this is owner occupied, you'd be okay with it?
Yeah.
Or is the density to the tipping point for you? What?
No, owner occupied, we support,
Okay. Thank you.
yeah.
Any other questions for this speaker? Commissioner Walters?
I think if there are others that you think are illegally operating, you should report them with no repercussions to you if you do so.
Right, yes, done.
Any other questions for this speaker? Seeing none, thank you for being here tonight. Next person, please come forward.
Hello, my name's Therese Folsom. I live at 111 North Greenwood, and I am opposed to approving this property for short-term rental. It's my understanding that the First Ward is the most densely populated ward in the city. We also have more STRs than any other ward. That's my understanding. And so another short-term rental in our neighborhood is going to have more impact on us. I am also perplexed about why somebody would come into a neighborhood and tear out a yard and put in a bunch of concrete in anticipation for having this approved for a short-term rental, but it's not been approved yet. But yet coming in and putting more impervious surfaces in our city and in the areas and digging up the yard and putting in more concrete. There was another house across the street earlier this year, dug up, the whole, a very large portion, put in a bunch of concrete on the north side of West Ash, very close to this. The density in our neighborhood and having more, Greenwood is also considered a cut-through street. A lot of people cut through from Broadway to West Ash to cut down their traffic time, or if there's a little more time of the day. Greenwood can be a busy street, and having, football on football weekends and having, 6 people staying up at the house right up the street from you, I don't find very appealing at all. And, the short-term rentals, like, our business ventures, in our neighborhood. And I'm just getting tired of more and more of the short-term rentals in our neighborhood. And I think we have enough. I don't have the statistics to say officially I agree with this because it's not, complying with this. I don't like more short-term rentals in our neighborhood. I think we already have enough. Why don't we put them in another area of Columbia? See how other people feel about having so many short-term rentals in their neighborhood.
Thank you. Any questions for the speaker? Commissioner Stanton and then Commissioner Gray.
Good evening.
Hi.
So do you support the owner-occupied short-term rentals and the density that exists right now?
Can I take the fifth on that? I don't want to say.
Okay. What about if this proposed short-term rental was owner-occupied, would you support it?
I don't want to say.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other oh, I'm sorry, ma'am. Commissioner Gray, go ahead.
I'd like to be curious about why you don't want to say.
Because I have a personal feeling about it that, no, I would not, would not want it in my neighborhood. I think we have enough. And I know that's not, I know other people disagree with that, but I think we have enough, people coming in and out of our neighborhood, and I just, it's a business. It's not people living in our neighborhood. It's not neighbors. It's not people that we can get to know and go and talk to when we go out on a walk. A lot of people in our neighborhood walk. And, you don't know the people, and it's just taken away what our neighborhood feels like. And I've lived in that house for 35 years on North Greenwood. And it's changed. It's changed a lot. We don't, and I don't like it. It's my opinion.
Okay. Can you tell me a little bit about the impact in terms of your traffic concerns about Greenwood, on Greenwood?
Greenwood is a cut-through street. It's a big street. It's wide. The Anderson is a less smaller street that has parking down both sides. Greenwood does too, but it's a wide street. And during peak traffic time, people just cut through.
Yeah, I guess I'm trying to understand how a group of temporary residents might constitute a different traffic impact than 6 people living in this house permanently.
6 people what? Living in that house permanently?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think 6 people, didn't Megan just say that's that only 4 unrelated people can live in that house, the way it's, I'm sorry, I can't think of the word right now.
Zoned.
Yeah.
Right, zoned. So there's gonna be 6 different people, and they're gonna be, going in and out, going to their games. That's why people are here.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions for the speaker? Commissioner Dar.
I can appreciate your concern about the density, just because it is one of the criteria we have to look at. And unless we get testimony, which is very valuable, all we have to go off of is the staff report that has the number of short-term rentals within 300 feet. However, 1 person or 2 people, or even 3 people saying there's too many is just, it's not enough for me to go on. I need some data.
I know you need data. I don't have data. I have feelings. I don't like all of these unrelated people just coming into our neighborhood, hanging out for a weekend. Isn't it all right just to not like it? I mean, do I have to have data? I'm sorry. I don't want to make, it's a personal feeling. I don't like all people coming in and out, people I don't know, staying for a couple nights. I apologize.
Well, I was actually just trying to help you, because you say these come in a lot, or there's a lot in your neighborhood. So next time, if you had some data on how many there are in your neighborhood, it would go a long way for me personally.
I don't have that data. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Thank you.
Commissioner Stanton, do you have something quick?
Yeah, I just wanted to address your question concerning them paving in front of their home. You're right. They're rolling the dice.
Right.
That's a speculative move, and they hope that it pays off. But
Right.
they have a right to roll the dice, and it might
You're
work out
right.
in their favor. It might not, and that's why.
You're right.
Yes. Doesn't guarantee them anything. They just hope it works out.
You're right.
Okay.
Any other questions, Commissioner Stockton?
I just wanted to say, I kind of hear you on this. I mean, I've gone back and forth. We've had a number of these over the past year, and part of the reason you moved to a neighborhood is to have neighbors, right?
Right.
Like, you could live
I've lived there 35 years.
above a coffee shop downtown and have a different experience, right? And
Right.
that's fine, too.
Commissioner, do you have a
but-
question, Commissioner Stockton? Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I guess it's more of a comment and reaction to what she's saying about the density. I think that's part of the reason we put that in place and try to take that into consideration, so, yeah.
Well, I mean, I didn't, you have neighbors. You don't have companies that own the house next door. And, I know I have an attitude about it, and I just, I want neighbors. I don't want companies. Some people living, someplace else that owns the home, and who knows who's going to come into the home the next weekend.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for listening.
Next speaker, name and address for the record.
My name is Laura Mitchell. My address is 209 Ridgeway Avenue, and I'm the president of the West Ash Neighborhood Association.
Are you speaking for the association or as an
Yes, I am.
individual? Thank you,
Yes,
Laura.
but I'm not planning to run out the time either. So we are aware that this property was purchased by someone who lives in Festus. And then he immediately applied for a short-term rental license. So this was definitely a commercial venture from the beginning. And he did that without having a permit to operate it as a short-term rental. I think I had a better point too, but what was it? The other thing about this conversation is it makes it sound like we don't want to have renters in our neighborhood. We have a lot of renters in our neighborhood, and they're long-term, and they're stable, and they're our friends, and we consider them equals. They walk their dogs, we walk their dogs, we know their kids. There's a lot of renters. It's just, this is different. This is people who come and go, and the place is empty a lot of the time. A lot of the time. There's little ghost houses all up and down that short little street called Meadow Lane. Ghost houses, because I think they have 2 or 3 on this one block of Meadow Lane. And then the last thing I wanted to say was, I was at another planning and zoning meeting, and some people were trying to make the case that they, by having their 4-condo unit as Airbnb, they were providing a service to tourism. But that's a commercial use. And it was pointed out at that meeting that they could rent it long-term. They could rent it to visiting nurses, they could rent it to somebody for 3 months, 6 months, but they wouldn't make as much money because you can just get a big, huge influx of money in 3 football weekends. It's very profitable. Thank you, that's all.
Thank you. Wait, just one moment, Laura.
Somebody else can weigh
Okay. Anyone else have a question?
My name on the hat, in the hat.
All right. Commissioner Gray, go ahead.
Hi, thank you. You mentioned not being anti-renter, having renters amongst you. Hi, I'm one of them. So you would be support of a midterm rental or a long-term rental?
Absolutely.
And can you tell me why?
Because those people become our neighbors. We don't meet all the 3-month people, but there's a lot of renters in our neighborhood who've rented for years. I mean, I hope they don't get priced out, honestly, but, yeah, they're our neighbors.
Okay, so someone who lives there for less than 60 days versus, or 30 days versus more than 30 days
Well,
is the cutoff for a neighbor for you?
no, it would be longer than that. I mean, isn't a midterm thing 3 months?
No.
Okay. I stand corrected.
Okay. Thank you.
Commissioner
Anybody else?
Stanton?
If I heard your testimony correctly, are you saying that this applicant was already renting it short-term and it's empty a lot? You didn't say that? Okay, I want to make sure that's not what we said here.
Yep. One of the photos showed the for sale sign, and he purchased it, maybe through an agent, maybe himself, and then immediately started making preparations to apply for a short-term rental and expanding the driveway.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you very much for being here tonight. Next person to speak on this case.
I'm Doris O'Hara.
You're going to need to pull that down, please, ma'am. Thank you.
I'm Doris O'Hara. I live at 715 West Ash. I'm a block from this house. I'm here really to talk about the questions you've been asking, how does this impact Ash Street? Because I've been very involved with the city on all the various Ash Street projects. And currently, right now, things are on hold because they're trying to decide whether Ash Street should be a neighborhood corridor or, what do they call it? Let me see if I can, this light, okay, or a major corridor. There's real debate about that going on, so the Ash Street project has been put on hold. One of the problems that they're facing in deciding the corridor is the fact that we are a neighborhood and that we have so many driveways. And if you do a major corridor, you don't have driveways going bam, 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 bam. And that's what we have in our neighborhood. We also have a problem with Ash Street in that it doesn't have the stop signs or the traffic lights that Worley and Broadway have. So people love Ash Street, man. They get at one end, hit their foot on the pedal of the gas and drive down speeding, and it's just hysterical. I mean, on some level, you just have to laugh at it. I mean, they come up on your butt, try to push you to go faster, and of course you don't. I even had that done with me by a cement truck once. But, so this is a major problem. So visualize this. We have lots of high, fast cars on the street. The next thing is that in the Ash Street project, one of the lanes that will remain a bicycle lane on the street is always, and every one of their plans they present, is on the south side of the street, okay? The bicycle lane then, therefore, will not only have bicycle traffic, which we have a lot of bicycle traffic, but also power wheelchairs go up and down it, okay? So you got those three visual things that are going to be happening down that street. We have fast cars, wheelchairs, bicycles. Now, if you do a short-term rental, and they come and they stay in this house, that driveway's wide enough. As far as I'm concerned, we're having problems with, they're complaining that we have too many driveways on the street as it is. I feel like when you look at it, we've added 3 driveways, because there wasn't a driveway there before at all. So we've added 3 driveways and a mess on a street that driveways are an issue. Now, you have a person that's staying there like overnight or a few days. They don't know about the bicycles.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Could you wrap up for us, please?
Okay. So I think it's high risk for an accident to have this place with that big driveway and 3 cars backing in and out, okay?
Thank you. One moment. Are there any questions? Commissioner Gray, go ahead.
Just one. Would you be in support of this if the applicant provided information to the guest about this particular road and navigating it?
No, because he doesn't live here.
Sorry?
He doesn't live here, and I don't trust a person really to contact and tell that to the people.
Okay, thank
I
you.
really don't.
Anyone else? Seeing none, thank you, ma'am. Next speaker, please come forward.
Good evening. My name is Christine Gardiner. I live at 112 Anderson Avenue, within a very short distance from the application. So my view of neighborhoods came from my background, which everyone has that background. They expect something from their childhood. Mine was bifurcated because I was in a military family. So some of the time we lived on a base. It was a very tight community, very structured. Went to the base school, shopped in the base shops. But there were no handicapped people. There were no old people. There were no disabled children, generally, on a military base. When we lived off base on the economy, I also got to experience what it was like for people who had lived in the same place for years, if not generations. The students around me in school had known each other since they were in grade school, kindergarten. So I've observed both. So when I came to Columbia in 1975 and decided to live here, one thing that attracted me is that I immediately could find grandmothers. And when I moved on Anderson, it was even better because the street was aging at the time, and so I had lots of elders around me. And I also spent a lot of time with children in that time, so it was pretty delightful. We had children in the neighborhood, we had elders. And, looking for the clock, oh, here it is.
You've got about a minute left.
So what I want to really get to is, with a lifetime of reflection, I have learned that what is right or fair versus what is not right or fair is complicated. But you can ask 5 or 6-year-old children. They can pretty much, if you explain the situation, give you a pretty good assessment of what is right and fair or not. It's arriving at the solution that is complicated. So consider one example, which is mine. I've been here in that house for close to 50 years. As I grow older and in more need of support, is it right or fair that I lose the neighbors around me, the people that would be there for me? I've seen in the past years my neighbors care for those among us who are in trouble, show sensitivity to those with mental issues, care for the ill and dying in the neighborhood. These are not family members. These are neighbors. I don't have family members here. I have neighbors.
That's your time, Christine. You can wrap up. Say one last thing.
I had one more sentence. Every unhosted STR I consider a loss and a lost opportunity for neighbors. Thank you.
Any questions for Ms. Gardner? Thank you very much for being here tonight. Next, please come forward.
My name's Dee Dock, and I live at 804 Agan Street. And my issue is I'm concerned with something in the staff report about the administratively approved STR property about 190 feet away, and concluding that at the time of STR regulation adoption, owner or tenant occupied STRs were considered less impactful given the presence of a full-time occupant, therefore allowed without restriction within 300 feet of other STRs. And we were all in favor of that. I saw this policy form. We wanted to encourage people to live in their homes and support themselves with guests instead of being priced out of their home. But that's for the owner-occupied one. If this one at 122 Greenwood was owner-occupied, we wouldn't be having a hearing. They could be administratively approved. But because they aren't owner-occupied, they fall under the the conditional use of whether or not there are established STRs within 300 feet of the proposed STR, measured in all directions from property lines as the crow flies. It doesn't say Tier 3 or Tier 2, it just says established STRs. So right now, that is something that should be considered. Staff is saying you don't have to consider it, but it needs to be considered. And why am I strong on this 300-foot? It's the only thing we have to control density of STRs in the first ward. And it's very similar to when the staff came and said, oh, well, it's more than 300 feet. This was another one, more than 300 feet by the streets. And we said, no, it's the crow flies. And that's what the actual ordinance says. So we can't chip away at this. If this was owner occupied, they could go next door to another one. The current ordinance benefits the owner occupied to not have a hearing and to not have to worry about the 300 feet. This is not owner occupied. It doesn't matter what's around them. There is an established STR within 300 feet, and that should be considered. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Dawkin. Any questions for Ms. Dawkin tonight? Seeing none, thank you. Any other speakers? Please come forward quickly.
Hello there. I am Tiffany Shy, owner of 122 North Greenwood, along with my husband Jason. Hi, neighbors. So I am going to go a little off script because I'm actually glad that they did go first because I get it. Like, Airbnb sounds terrifying. It sounds like a party place. I get it. So thank you for your concerns. But what I want to mention is that both of our children, we are empty nesters now. They are attending Mizzou. My daughter is a senior at the journalism school, and my son will be a freshman at the Trulaske Business School. So with them both being out here, and we have been coming out here for years, and spending so much money on hotels, staying in Jeff City for, parents' weekend, because there's not anywhere for us to stay, mom's weekend, dad's weekend. We just purchased season tickets finally for the football team, so on those expensive weekends where we could cash in, it will be us. So it's definitely not a great investment on our end. I'm not Wall Street. I'm not here buying a house for money. I'm a mom, letting my kids spread their wings while I can stay somewhat close. It will be me there most of the time. The reason we bought a house in this neighborhood was all the reasons they mentioned. We love it. Like, I've spoke to David on the phone. I love the people that walk. I have a dog. You will see me out there walking my dog. My daughter, very responsible. My son, very responsible. They will be there. You'll get to meet them. We will be there more than not. The reason I asked for 6 people is because if our parents decide to come, there's 4 of us. And the main reason with the driveway, the reason we did it before getting approved, because it was non-negotiable. West Ash is a major connector. That's why we like it. It's very convenient. And it's very dangerous to pull out there if we didn't have like a good turning or angle. My kids will be pulling out of that same driveway. So that's why there's so much concrete. I will put flowers out there. I will make it look nice. I love greenery too. I love this city, as you can tell. Like, I'm super passionate. I don't even know what I wrote down. But I'm here because my family's here. They go to Mizzou. We love Columbia. It's beautiful. We frequent all of the restaurants. My children are involved, and I want to be friends with the neighbors. I'm a very compassionate person. My mother's handicapped. I will help you out if I'm around and you get hurt. I will give you my cell phone number. If you have any issues, please, come to me. And like I said, this is Jason. He's very friendly. So with that, if there's any questions, I'll take from whoever.
Are there any questions for the applicant, Commissioner Stanton, and then Commissioner Gray?
If the stuff hits the fan, who do I call and how fast are they getting there?
Well, I have a designated agent who is 4 minutes away, and she is very responsible. My daughter is also my co-host, as she has been since she was 18. She's 21 now, but she's going to be living on East Campus. And so she is very knowledgeable and does the rentals with me. I have almost 400 five-star reviews, and you can go through and read all of them. My neighbors, we are in quiet subdivisions, and most of them are long-term residents, and so they always comment about how much they love our renters because I vet all of them. We stay at this house. I don't want a party house. I don't want crazy people coming in and out. And like I said, if this was truly just an investment, I would have long-term rented it and not even gone out and visited it. I want to stay there too. I want to stay clean. I want to stay safe. I want everybody to get along, so.
Commissioner Gray?
Thank you. You said your designated agent is a Realtor.
Yes.
She sold you
Alice,
the
yes.
house? Okay. And are you seeking midterm or long-term rentals on this as well, or no?
I really don't want to long-term because I want to use it with my family. Like I said, we have football season tickets. Otherwise, I would be maybe staying in Jeff City or spending $1,200 in a hotel for the weekend, like we have done the past 4 years. So yeah, but another option, if they want long-term there, my son does not have to live in the dorm next year, and he could live there with 3 other 20-year-olds. But I think me living there and being there a lot, to me, it sounds ideal. I take very good care of things. So, you'll see my face out there a lot, so we definitely need to meet.
Great. And when did you purchase this house?
We purchased it June 2nd.
Of this year?
Oh, yes.
Okay. And has it operated as a short-term rental since then?
We did apply immediately because I'm a planner, like someone has mentioned, and I like to cover all my bases and make sure I can have Plan A, Plan B, Plan C,
Yeah. And you said that your daughter was a co-host.
Yes.
Do you have other properties as short-term
I
rentals
do.
in Columbia?
No, not in Columbia, and I probably won't again.
So your daughter was not the co-host in Columbia?
Oh, no, she will be.
Okay.
Yeah, I have no rental in Columbia. I have 3 other rentals, but they're at the lake.
That your daughter was the co-host for?
That she co-hosts with me. Like on Airbnb, you can put a co-host, that way in case I'm not available, they can respond rapidly or answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. I think my last question, given the concerns that have come from the neighbors, what, other than giving your cell phone number, what might you do to address those or facilitate a sense of safety or ease with this?
Yeah, I get all of those. I see the people that walk, I see the motorized wheelchairs, I see the people on their scooters. When you book with me, and it will not be a lot, but when you book with me, my first message when they're interested says, this is not a wild party place, this is in a residential neighborhood. If you're looking for that, if you're looking for a wild party place, please continue your search. If you read my rules, one of the properties has 1 million stairs. I say it right up front, don't book if you're not comfortable with stairs. Like, I want my guests to be aware of their situation before they're booking. So if there are people that walk in scooters, I will put, please be cautious of the pedestrians because there are 1 million a day. It is a very transient road, as I'm going to have transient guests. I'm very, I have labels everywhere, I have notes everywhere. I just want to cover all my bases, so I'll be as forward as possible. I'll make sure, and I wrote down everything that they wrote. The concrete, I know it will eventually not be so bright, but other than that, I did it for safety. I'm pulling out of there, my daughter's pulling out of there. It's a busy road, so it actually does give us a little more maneuvering and time. So I will make sure I'm very thorough because I do not want any kickback either. Like, I want it to be as flawless and seamless for all of us, so.
Thank you.
Any other questions for the applicant? Seeing none, thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you.
Any other speakers on this case? Please come forward. Seeing none, we will close public comment and go to commissioner comment. I'm actually going to start. I know that we've got new folks in, and this is not a criticism at all for staff, but Ms. Dawkins is correct. The 300 feet applies regardless of the type of short-term rental. It's not a complete bar, but it is a weighted factor that we take into account for all of the CUPs. So.
Legal will agree with the chair on that as well.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So I'm not being critical. I just wanted to point out that because we're about to get into a place where we have a bunch of new planners and a bunch of new commissioners. So my understanding was similar to Ms. Dawkins and legal's interpretation. Any other commissioner comments? Commissioner Brodsky?
I'll start us off here. This area is, for me personally, a little near and dear to my heart. My first home in this image on the screen was in the top left of that map, just below the R2 stamp there, so I'm very familiar with this area. What I'm about to say is not an indictment of the applicant in any way, shape, or form. It's really just most of my comments on this case are really going to be just about the situation in the area that was here before you guys purchased the property. So we have a pretty high concentration of STRs in this immediate area. We have one at 104 North Greenwood already. It's about 400 feet to the south. We have the cottage house at the Ash and West Boulevard corner at 121 Northwest Boulevard. We have another one just north of that at 316 Northwest Boulevard. We have one behind the cottage house at 115 Clinton. We have another one just a couple blocks down at 105 Pinewood. We have one that we just approved, 903 West Worley, just north of here. There's another one at 318 North Anderson, which is just a couple blocks away. We have the one on West Ash that is within 300 feet. And we have this one now, which is the 9th STR in a very tiny area in the first ward. I think that I was not on the commission when we created that 300-foot consideration, but I think we did that so that we did not have a concentration of these in any given area. And I think this is an exact scenario where we have an over-concentration in an area. And if we're going to protect the first ward and we're going to protect these kinds of, legacy neighborhoods, I think we're getting to the point that we need to start saying no to some of these in these areas.
Commissioner Stanton?
This is a sticky situation. Tell you why. We made a provision by right at the true essence of the Airbnb business model of renting out extra space from your house. So we basically have made that a by right option. I look at that different from a commercial situation. I think it affects density different because I live there. And there won't be no parties because I'm in the house or it's my house. You get where I'm coming from? So this is almost, I don't know if it's a loophole. I don't know how to define this because the system's working at its essence, but because it's administrative, we didn't stop this density way before now. Like, you see what I'm saying? Because a lot of these are like owner occupied. We're not gonna see them, right?
We approved most of these.
Oh, okay.
Of that
But
list.
there are, according to testimony, there's a lot of owner occupied that we're not seeing in here.
Of that list that I rattled off, only 2 of them were owner.
Okay.
I think there are a lot of illegal ones, Anthony.
A lot of what?
I believe that there are a lot of unlicensed ones also operating.
Okay. Well, those will have to come to the light, won't they? I'm torn with this one because it's not like we haven't done it. If that owner hadn't came up, I had to axe out. Honestly, if the owner hadn't came up. I'm gonna have to hear some more guidance from my colleagues first, but I think this is, it's sticky.
Who's next? Commissioner Gray?
Commissioner Stanton, can I ask you a follow-up question?
Yes, doctor.
Okay. Your concern / the stickiness of it is mostly about the level of saturation in the first ward, or can you say more?
The difference between owner occupied, which is the one that and maybe my facts are wrong, the one that's the closest,
That one is.
Yes.
is owner occupied.
Yes.
Right, okay. So the stickiness comes to me between owner occupied and basically the commercial use. Because owner occupied basically is by right. Any one of us that has a home can have an STR without coming to this body. It's an administrative process. And I know it should make a difference, but I wouldn't mind if everybody on my block could rent their extra space out. They're in it. They're not like absentee landlords. You know what I'm saying? My reference for these occasions is the Green Book, which I feel is the original Airbnb. And if everybody doesn't know what the Green Book is, the Green Book was a list of places that African Americans could stay across the country that they wouldn't have to worry about getting their behinds kicked. And they could sleep in peace. So that is my baseline. And if I were to refer back to a Green Book would be anybody who could furnish safe passage and boarding. And that's kind of what that administrative by right kind of does. So I'm gonna have to pray on this for a little bit.
Anything else, Dr. Gray?
I'm compiling thoughts. Give me a second.
Okay.
Yeah.
Commissioner Grayball?
I would just like to ask for just one more point of clarification, just because I don't think I clearly heard it. Would you please just clarify the 300 feet and 100, and the 120 that was listed? Staff
Yeah,
or
I
someone
can
give it?
provide clarification. So in the conditional use permit criteria through which we evaluate these and ultimately make a recommendation, it states, one of the questions that we look at when we consider this is there another short-term rental that is registered with the city within 300 feet of this property? It is true that that is the case. That is a registered short-term rental. And potentially to Mr. Stanton's point, it does feel a little different. So staff's discretionary takeaway from that is that failure perhaps of that is not ultimately a reason to recommend denial for that.
So each of the criteria, no single criteria is dispositive or determinative. It's a totality, it's a weighted totality of all the criteria. So there in the past, there have been situations in which STRs that are closer than 300 feet together have been approved by this commission and approved by council. But it is a weighted factor. So you assign it the weight you feel it deserves based on the testimony and what's on the record here tonight. So, to clarify, any registered STR within 300 feet would trigger that consideration if they're seeking a CUP. Now, that might not be a criteria for an administrative short-term rental, but as soon as you get into a CUP application, then it would be a consideration, whether that STR that is within 300 feet is owner occupied or not. So, does that clarify?
Yeah, that helps. Thank you, I appreciate it.
Okay. If there's any other clarification I can provide, just let me know.
Well, the clarification that I was seeking, I really appreciate it, just to clear my thoughts, is that whether or not the 190 feet or 300 feet really was yes or no. In other words, should this not be considered because the other STR is within the 300 feet? And so that's why I was asking for a little more clarity, a little more black and white.
Certainly, I mean, I can't tell you how to feel about it or
Yeah.
how to vote about it, but I mean,
No,
that
no,
is
that's why I
something,
was
that is
asking the
something you must
difference
consider,
about
and
that.
it is
Thank you.
something, it depends on how much weight
Yeah,
you
I
assign
understand.
that. So, yeah.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Who's next? Commissioner Lowe, go ahead.
Commissioner Brodsky, that list of other STRs you gave, are those all ones that have been approved by the commission? Does that include any that haven't gone through this process?
So I rattled off 9 of them, one of which includes the case before us tonight. 2 of those were administrative. The other 6 are ones that we approved as a CUP process.
Gotcha. So that doesn't include any that haven't yet gone through this process and are operating under the radar?
That and that list doesn't include any additional in this area that might have been approved administrative that I don't know about.
Gotcha.
Any other commissioner comments or thoughts? I know that I am also feeling the density growing in this intersection in particular, the West Boulevard and Ash sort of neighborhood, if we are using that term in a loose way, is getting very dense with short-term rentals. And I know that Commissioner Brodsky listed the 9 that have been approved. Just looking at the Airbnb map, there appear to be a lot more that have not been approved within, that sort of, again, loosely defined neighborhood. We intentionally did not make the 300 feet a yes or no proposition because we didn't want to have a situation where it was a race to the pole, right? First in, first out, or first person is the only one that gets one. But it is a factor that we left in place to prevent a major densification within a specific neighborhood or area. And I feel like we're reaching that point in this particular neighborhood, just based on what I'm looking at, where we're almost to a point where there is 1 or 2 on every block within a quarter mile of Weston Ash. And I am really struggling because that's also an area where we do have houses that are still affordable. No, don't yell at me. Attainable, under $300,000. Can we agree that they're under $300,000, Commissioner Stanton? Okay. I didn't say it was affordable housing. I just said they were houses that I could afford.
Yes, ma'am.
Anyway, but the point is that this is a place where it is, these are what at one time we would have called starter homes. And we're now getting to a place where I'm looking at a map and there's a lot. So I'm feeling concerned. You want me to let Anthony go first, or do you? Sure. Okay. Commissioner Stanton.
Madam Chair, I understand your dilemma here. There's also something called property rights. And I always battle with somebody trying to keep me from my paper. And if I'm trying to come up, excuse my ebonics at this time, I'm trying to come up, and I have the ability to rent extra space in my home, or I buy a place. Now, putting the extra concrete there was kind of, big kahunas, but let's say, that's speculative and hopefully it works out for them. I don't know, but
But this is not their home. They're treating it like a short-term rental.
I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
Okay, all right.
Okay, so the one that's immediately triggering the 300-foot thing is an administratively blessed short-term rental, which I'm hoping that this was done on purpose. Because, as far as why are we not knowing that, like, immediately? Usually we'll have, I don't think we have a comprehensive list of all the administratively granted STRs. That's my point. And I don't know if that was done purposely or not, but to me, it's almost like by right. That's why they don't have to come in front of us. And
I'm sorry.
the way I'm looking at this filter is commercial versus
Can I ask you a question?
home business. I don't know.
Why does the administratively approved ownership matter when we're talking about one that is not that? Because we're not taking away the homeowners or
Yes.
the long-term
So,
tenant's ability.
But I'm thinking that because that one is that one is administrative, it doesn't have, it's
But-
almost, I hate to say it like this, it's almost like it don't count on the
But
crows fly situation.
I get that, but even if we didn't take that one into account, the number that are already in that area,
But are they 300 feet away?
barely.
You get where I'm at?
Yeah, okay.
I'm almost like, I guess I'm gonna tell you what my filter will be. Due to the fact that these administrative ones are kind of by right, my filter is gonna be commercial by commercial. And I think the intent from the beginning, which I was here from the beginning, was to keep there from being commercial businesses clustered in neighborhoods that did not have ties to the neighborhood, hence making a whole street basically a hotel.
Now I'm tracking with you. That's
So
helpful.
that's where my filter is gonna work. I think that I wouldn't have a problem if everybody on all streets had an administrative blessing to have a short-term rental, because it's not gonna be used in the same way. It's not gonna be the same density. You're not gonna have people up in your house. You only got 100 and what, 20 days?
120. Can I restate it and make sure I'm following?
Yes, ma'am.
So you're not going to give this criteria piece a lot of weight because you don't think it matters as much for them to be close. So it's not that you think it's
You
it's
gotta
just that
separate administrative versus commercial.
you're
That's
not
my
giving it a lot of
difference.
weight. Okay, that makes sense. Thank you. Commissioner Gray.
Okay, as is my favorite party trick, I'm going back to the criteria. There is a lack of broader neighborhood support. However, I think I hear the larger discussion about differentiating between an owner-occupied short-term rental versus out of neighborhood, out of city, out of state. I hear those concerns and fears, but I am unwilling to make assumptions about how someone will operate based on that. I have greater concerns about some patterns that we've seen in terms of designated agents, but again, that is not a criteria. In terms of traffic, I think, yeah, there, unfortunately, that the West Ash street driveway corridor debate scenario offers some moments of pause, but I can't, in the testimony or what has been otherwise presented to me, differentiate between how 6 unrelated people temporarily living here versus 6 unrelated people, which would be 6 related people in an R2, which would be allowed, would utilize this driveway differently or utilize this street differently. There is adequate infrastructure. It does align with the particular policies in the comprehensive plan as cited in the staff report, which I tend to agree. I think due to these reasons, I plan on supporting it, but it is with great pause. As Commissioner Stanton also articulated, I feel like one of the limits of how the regulations were introduced, and they were thoughtful and intentional, but there is not the metric that we need in order to deal with like this kinds of density. So, you know, the particular examples that Commissioner Brodsky brought up, or like if that's, you know, within a 1 mile radius, or are we only looking at Ward 1? Like I would like a very specific metric as to how to evaluate density that can be applied across all of the wards in our city, because as a West Ash neighborhood resident, yes, I think our neighborhood is worth protecting, and so are all of the other ones in Columbia, particularly the ones who are not going to organize and come out and talk to us. Those are worth protecting too. So I would like to see, hopefully in the future, maybe a metric that allows us to evaluate a level of saturation that is consistent, that is not tied to neighbors' feelings about it.
Commissioner Stanton?
Dr. Gray, you're a wonderful antagonist, but I would like to refer to your street directly.
Please don't dox me.
Your street has a density of STRs on it that were blessed by said neighbors. Was based on feelings and was based on letters of support. That's why we need this human factor, because a straight up crows flies 300 feet around, stand on it kind of situation doesn't apply everywhere. Your neighborhood had the same debate we're having right now. We wrestled with density, all of that, but the support of the neighborhood and agreeing that yes, it's dense, but we don't mind that there's 2 STRs side by side was cool. So this does become a judgment call based on all of our collective professional experiences and data that we've collected and positions. Like I said, each of us really is going to have to come up with our own filter based on the policy, our experience, and our straight up savvy as commissioners up here. Because your street, if I use your argument against you, would not fly. Sorry, Doc.
Thanks. Can I reply? Yeah, no, thank you. I love a fruitful, generous disagreeal. I hear what you're saying. I think I may have misstated something or you misheard. I don't think that a lack of neighborhood support shouldn't be considered. But per your argument, yes, I was one of the neighbors that was in support of both of these STRs. The neighborhood support that we came through with was about the reality of how it had been operating and our relationship to those owners. It was not about a hypothetical situation or a hypothetical set of operating procedures. So we did have data other than our feelings. And I think you're correct in that we consider both of those things alongside of each other in order to make thoughtful decisions. I'm done.
Anyone else? Okay, if no one has any more comments, would anyone like to make a motion?
I would.
Commissioner Walters, go ahead.
Regarding case number 200-2026, 122 North Greenwood Avenue, just for information, all motions are made in the affirmative. I make a motion to approve the requested STR CUP subject to maximum occupancy of 6 transient guests and maximum of 210 nights of annual rental usage.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Walters, seconded by Commissioner Gray. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, Commissioner Brodsky, may we have a roll call?
Commissioner Galloway-Jones?
No.
Commissioner Graybaugh?
No.
Commissioner Gray?
No.
Commissioner Lowe?
No.
Commissioner Stanton?
Yes.
Commissioner Stockton?
No.
Commissioner Walters?
No.
My vote is no. Commissioner Dar?
No.
Motion fails with 1 yes vote and 8 no votes.
Thank you. That recommendation against approval will be sent to City Council. Moving on to our next case, case number 202, I'm sorry, I should also say, that means it will automatically be pulled from the consent agenda and be put on first and second reading, which means that you won't have to go to the first hearing, you can just go to the second one. Commissioner Stanton, yes.
I would like to make a memo for staff. Based on our information that we looked up right up here, there is a cluster of non-compliant STRs in that area. Maybe they're already on the radar, but we need to look into that Greenwood area intensely.
Thank you. And agreed. All right, moving on. Case number 202-2026, a request by Chapel Hill Cottages LLC owner for approval of a conditional use permit, CUP, to allow 2400 Chapel Hill Road to be used as a short-term rental for a maximum of 8 transient guests, up to 210 nights annually pursuant to Section 29-3.3 VV and Section 29-6.4 M2 of the Unified Development Code. The approximately 0.69 acre subject site is zoned RMF, multiple family dwelling, and is located 250 feet west of the intersection of Chapel Hill Road and Martinshire Drive, and includes the address 2400 Chapel Hill Road. May we please have a staff report?
Yes, you may. Thank you, Madam Chair. As stated, here's our subject site at 2400 Chapel Hill Road. We are directly adjacent to the entrance of Twin Lakes Park and just slightly west of Martinshire Drive. We sent out postcards on July 15th, and 22 of those, as well as 22 public hearing letters on July 20th. The Tribune ad was placed on July 21st. And the request here, as stated, is 210-night conditional use STR with 8 transient guests. And we'll move on. Here's just some more aerial context. So as you can see, we have Twin Lakes. I didn't draw the boundary zone for you, but just southwest of this site, and we'll go on to zoning. We are zoned RMF, although it is a single-family use. Directly behind is some R1, and then we have RMF uses otherwise surrounding. And then that green A is just that Twin Lakes area to the west. So as I just said, we're zoned RMF here. This is not the primary residence of the applicant. And then we have 8 guests, which require 4 parking spaces here. I've provided just the street view image of the driveway, and we are way large enough to accommodate for vehicles, including turning around, because access on Chapel Hill is a little challenging. As I was there the other day with the sign, and there's people kind of going by on that road. This property has never been operated as an STR, and there are no additional STRs within 300 feet of this property. The designated agent lives in Columbia, approximately 20 minutes away from the subject site, and there are no violations or code cases on record. And there was no public response to our distributed notice. So to conclude, the conditional use permit analysis supports approval for compliance. STR regulations provide oversight and means to address the impacts, and approval supports broad policy strategies and actions of the comprehensive plan. And our recommendation is to approve the requested STR CUP subject to maximum occupancy of 8 transient guests and a maximum of 210 nights of annual rental usage. I will take any questions you may have.
Thank you. Before we go to questions for staff, if any of my fellow commissioners have had contact with parties to this case outside of a public hearing, please disclose so now. Seeing none, questions for staff? Seeing none, we will go to public comment, or I'm sorry, yeah, that's what's next. Sorry, y'all, I'm tired. Public comment. Any members of the public who wish to speak tonight, please come forward. Anyone at all?
Hello, Brooke McCarty, 3700 Monterey Drive, Columbia, Missouri. I'm going to read from here. So again, I'm Brooke McCarty. My husband is on vacation with his family, so I'm sorry you cannot be here. I'm here to respectfully ask for your support in improving our short-term rental. My husband and I, we are here locally in Columbia. We're the property owners, and we just live a few miles down Scott Boulevard from the property. In addition, we own and manage 15 rental units just right next door here on Chapel Hill. We are on the property at least once a week between our staff that we have. If any issue were to arise, we are close by and we are able to respond quickly. We employ a full-time maintenance person and then a few staff members that we have. We have been local landlords in Columbia for more than 20 years. During that time, we have worked hard to improve our community by investing in properties that others have overlooked. One of our proudest projects has been on Chapel Hill. It unfortunately was a meth lab that burned down, and now it's a beautiful apartment building that we have there. It is well maintained, and sorry, I'm super nervous. The home that we're discussing today has also received significant investment, and we have helped improve that. It has been completely updated over the past year and is not an expensive property. Since we have taken over, we have hired a landscaper to help beautify it even more. The property is also uniquely suited for a short-term rental with its location. It offers ample off-street parking with able to turn around, so it will not impact the neighboring properties, and it is not located in the middle of a dense residential neighborhood. We believe these characteristics make it an appropriate location for this use while minimizing any potential concerns. We understand the responsibility that comes with operating a short-term rental, and we take that responsibility seriously. Our long history as local landlords demonstrates our commitment to maintaining our properties, being responsible owners, and being good neighbors. We are proud to be a part of the Columbia community, and we are simply asking for this opportunity to continue for us in investing back in Columbia. We respectfully ask for your support in improving this application. And I also did want to correct one thing too. Our property manager just lives 5 minutes away too on the staff report as well. So do you have any questions for me?
Any questions for the applicant? Commissioner Gray?
Hi, thank you.
Oh, sorry,
Hi.
I saw his hand. Yes.
It's a big desk. You said you live in Columbia?
Yes.
And is there any reason that you're not the designated agent?
Absolutely. We are in our neighborhood. We've lived there for 12 years where we have our kids. Oh, why? I'm not the designated agent. I'm so
Yes.
sorry. Yeah, so I am a full-time real estate agent, and I am an owner of one of the local real estate brokerages here in town. So I keep super busy doing that full-time. And so you'll see I have my property manager there, and then we have hired another person back behind me as well to manage just this Airbnb, if I can use that short-term rental, sorry, for us. Because I'm too busy, and I have 3 children, one of which we want to keep this property for him to live in. He wants to go to Mizzou.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Commissioner Stan?
I feel a little disconnect.
Oh, sorry.
Great speech, great presentation.
I'm sorry, I had to get through it. You guys are intimidating. Oh.
So I think your business model is gonna work.
Okay.
I feel like there's tears.
Yeah.
That was a great question my colleague asked, because
Yeah.
you live here,
Yeah.
why are you not the quarterback?
Absolutely. Yeah. You keep going.
So when the stuff hits the fan, who am I gonna call? How fast they're gonna get there if
Yeah.
it ain't you?
Yeah. Well, I can tell you, I'm still always there. We had another rental property where someone was arrested. The Boone County Sheriffs ran into an electrical thing this past weekend and arrested somebody, none of which we knew anyone was anything there, but I was the one on site meeting the city of Columbia there this weekend. So I am there. But I personally, I'm going to be very honest with you, I don't want the day-to-day phone calls. I don't want to manage the bookings or anything like that because I do have a full-time job. But when things hit the fan, such as this weekend, I was there calling the city of Columbia. We have an electrical outage, all of those things. Yes, I am your person when it comes to, yes. And I can testify that happened this weekend.
But you're not on the paperwork, right?
Am I not on?
Somebody else is
Am I not on the paperwork? No, I have my lovely ladies right behind me that are on the paperwork because I hire them and pay them a salary.
Okay.
Mhm.
And they're gonna be there like 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the
If they're
morning.
not, no.
You get what
But
my concern is? My concern is,
the layers.
I love the house, I love it all. But
Yeah,
for these things to be successful, number one, as you've seen through the testimony,
yeah,
it's really important to be in tune with the neighbors.
yeah,
It's really important to be in tune with the property. We're not,
yeah. No, I get you. So we've owned the building on the corner of Chapel Hill and Martinshire since, what was it, maybe 2012, 2010. And yeah, I mean, I had to go around, we had an open house where we did invite the neighbors. And then, yeah, we owned all the way down the street. Well, you can see on the map, that whole street, right? Like, we own all of those. Yeah, we are very physically invested in the neighborhood. Absolutely, yes. It is us. And we have full-time staff. And then my maintenance guy, like I was saying, is not here. But we hire people full-time. I have those layers. We've been doing this for 20 years, so I promise you it's working. But I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, I don't want the phone calls and then just the stuff, but
Is this
I'm
your
there.
first term, is this your first short-term rental?
We actually did one at the lake too. And
Worked out?
Yeah, didn't love the lake. The lake it's a party crowd. Didn't like it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. Anyone else?
Any other questions for this applicant? Seeing none, thank you for being,
Okay,
sorry,
thank you,
Commissioner
guys.
Walters, was that? Okay, thank you for being here
Thank you so
tonight.
much.
Anyone else to speak on this case? Seeing none, Commissioner Stanton.
Madam Chair, if my colleagues are done with their questions, I would like to entertain a motion.
I have to actually ask.
That's why I raised my hand to ask you.
Well, I have to open commissioner comment first.
Yeah, we haven't closed
Oh,
the
my
public
bad.
hearing yet.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry, Madam Chair.
Give me 2 seconds. Seeing no other members of the public to speak on this case, I will close public comment and go to commissioner comments. Any commissioner comments? Seeing none, Commissioner Stanton.
Madam Chair, I'd like to entertain a motion.
Please.
If my colleagues are done with questions.
I believe we are.
Okay. As it relates to case 202-2026, 2400 Chapel Hill Road, STR conditional use permit, I move to approve the requested STR CUP subject to the following: maximum of 8 transit guests and a maximum of 210 nights annually usage.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Stanton and seconded by Commissioner Gray. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, Commissioner Brodsky, when you're ready, may we have a roll call?
Commissioner Galloway-Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Graybaugh,
Yes.
Commissioner Gray,
Yes.
Commissioner Lowe,
Yes.
Commissioner Stanton,
Yes.
Commissioner Stockton,
Yes.
Commissioner Walters.
Yes.
My vote is yes. Commissioner Dar.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. That recommendation will be forwarded to City Council. That concludes our cases for the evening. We will now go to public comment. If any members of the public wish to make a statement of a general nature, please come forward. Same time limits apply, sir.
Once again, Mike Zweifel, 520 Sackett's Road. As I sat here tonight, well, first I want to say I appreciate your all's time. You've been here 5 hours total today with your pre-meeting and this, so I appreciate your dedication to public service. As I sat back there just listening to the other cases, just kind of wanting for my personal knowledge as to see how this commission ran. I did notice on 2 cases ago, case 200-2026, that in the presentation put together by staff, that public correspondence was mentioned in the presentation, whereas on the case that I spoke to earlier, 160-2026, no, there was no mention of public correspondence during the staff presentation. So I don't know if that's intentional or not, or if it's just an oversight. I don't know the standard operating procedure for staff presentations when it comes to including public correspondence in their presentation. So whether, I highly doubt it was intentional, but I do feel like it could be interpreted as that my correspondence was not presented to the public, and it was just for you all. So and I feel like I shouldn't have to come up here to mention, hey, there's public correspondence here, so.
Thank you. I appreciate you bringing that forward. I can assure you that we all read your correspondence, and we appreciated that you sent the pictures and everything. That was very helpful. It was attached to the agenda. I think it's just a difference in the type of presenter and whether they mention it out loud or not. I will say on short-term rentals, we specifically do it because it's one of the criteria for the CUP, unlike for the plat approval. It's not a specific criteria, so that may have also been the difference. But I want you to know that your correspondence was appreciated and read.
Okay, all right, well, thank you. So maybe in the future, maybe it's just if there's any public I'm not talking in this, sorry. Maybe if there's any future, any public correspondence on future cases, that just make it standard operating procedure to include that public correspondence in presentations, no matter what it is.
We will make that note.
Okay,
Thank you very much, Mike. Any other member of the public to make a comment of a general nature? Seeing none, we will go to staff comments. Mr. Coons?
Don't have anything. Appreciate the clarification to the most recent public comment. It is the case for short-term rentals that we want to be more clear, because that is a criteria that is considered for approval of those cases. But it's certainly duly noted your comments, and we thank you for being here.
Are you going to give us a preview?
Is that, oh yeah, upcoming cases is the same, sorry. We have, I believe, 3 upcoming cases. One is going to be a concurrent preliminary plat and rezoning at 6610 South Old Plank Road. If I'm not mistaken, this is a R1 subdivision over a decent amount of acreage. I don't exactly remember how many lots, but it's, I believe, somewhere between 10 and 20. And then the public hearing for 6,000 Scott Boulevard is a permanent zoning case at the corner of Scott and KK. That's going to be the southeast corner of Scott and KK. And they are requesting 2 acres of mixed-use neighborhood zoning and 8 acres of residential multifamily zoning for this site, subject to annexation into the city. One of our lighter meetings, so pretty exciting. Some imagery here. The South Old Plank Road is rezoning from A. Yeah, and the permanent zoning is contiguous and compact with property that is annexed within the city. Otherwise, that's all we have, and yeah, thank you.
Thank you. We will now go to commissioner comments. I have a comment if no one else does. This is my last meeting. It's very bittersweet. I love you all and I will miss you. And send me good cases.
Nice, easy
Thank you.
answers.
That is all. Anyone else? Commissioner Stanton?
There will be a new sheriff in town next meeting. Mr. Galley Jones will be handing over the gavel, and I will run this with an iron fist.
Yes, you will. Appreciate it. Anyone else? Commissioner Gray?
I'm going to come back to you. Staff, I appreciate so much of the work that you're doing and have done in helping guide us. You did mention that you were working on a list of like the ward breakdown STR, and that for me would be super beneficial to have, so I appreciate you working on that. Additionally, if possible, would it be okay to also list in the staff report what ward the SDRs are in?
Yeah, certainly possible. Could also include it in locator maps for every single case that we have. We always append locator maps to an agenda, and we always make a ward map. So it's certainly in the realm of possibility that we could accommodate that request.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you so much. I hate asking for things, but
it's
it would be
fine.
useful. Chair, I am so grateful to have served alongside you on this commission. I am grateful for your insight, your thoughtfulness, your leadership. And I'm going to miss you, except I'm not, because I'm going to be sitting in the audience staring at you. Please believe, trust, that if you forget where you came from or you lose the plot, I will be calling you with love and generosity to remind you of what you went through and what we're trying to do over here.
Please do.
Thank you for your service. Thank you for your investment. And good luck.
Thanks. Anyone else? Anyone want to make a motion of any kind?
Oh, yeah. You go.
Commissioner
Yeah, I'd like to
Stanton,
entertain a motion.
please.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Stanton, seconded by Commissioner Gray. Without objection, we stand adjourned.